I do not chase results. I attract them by becoming a person of value. This isn't just a motivational slogan. It's a fundamental law of the universe. It's the physics of success. And to understand it, we first have to understand the destructive nature of chasing. Most people spend their entire lives in a state of frantic motion. They are constantly running. They run after money. They run after relationships. They run after recognition and fame. They believe that if they just run a little faster, if they just extend their reach a little further, they will finally catch the prize. But let's observe the energy of the chaser. What does it signal? When you chase something, you are broadcasting a very specific frequency to the world. You are shouting, "I do not have this." You are operating from a place of lack, a place of scarcity. By definition, if you have to chase something, it means it is running away from you. The very act of chasing creates a dynamic of repulsion. It creates a psychological and energetic distance between you and your desire. Think about a desperate salesperson. They call you every day. They beg for the meeting. They drop their prices. They chase the sale. And what do? You recoil. You pull back. Their desperation feels heavy. It feels repulsive. You don't trust them because a person of high value doesn't need to beg. Now, contrast this with the master, the expert, the authority. They don't chase clients. They simply exist in their excellence. They've built such a profound level of competence that clients wait in line to speak with them. They don't need to chase money. Money flows to them as a natural byproduct of the value they provide. This brings us to the core of the philosophy. Attraction. Attraction is often misunderstood. It's not about sitting on a couch and wishing for things to happen. It's not magic. Attraction is gravity. In physics, a massive object like the sun doesn't run around the galaxy trying to catch planets. The sun simply has mass. It has substance. It has gravity. Because of its immense value, its must. The planets have no choice but to orbit around it. So the question you must ask yourself is not how do I catch the result? The question is how do I build my mass? How do I become the sun? This is the process of becoming a person of value. Value is the currency of the universe. The marketplace of life is blind. It doesn't care about your needs. It doesn't care about your sob story. It doesn't care that you're a good person. The marketplace only cares about one thing. What value do you bring? Value comes in many forms. It's competence. It's the ability to solve painful, expensive problems for others. It's emotional intelligence, the ability to remain calm in a storm. It's leadership. It's creativity. To become a person of value requires a shift in focus. You must stop looking out the window at the prize and start looking in the mirror at the person. You must turn your gaze inward. This is the hardest work a human being can do, which is why so few do it. It's much easier to chase. Chasing feels like work. It keeps you busy. It gives you a dopamine hit of effort. But often, this effort is wasted motion. It's the hamster running on the wheel, lots of sweat, but no destination. Becoming a person of value requires you to enter the dark room. It requires isolation. It requires study. It requires the painful repetition of skill acquisition. It requires you to face your own inadequacies and sharpen them into strengths. Let's use the metaphor of the garden and the butterfly. This is perhaps the most beautiful illustration of this philosophy. If you want to catch butterflies, you can buy a net. You can run through the fields, sweating, panting, swinging your net wildly. You might catch one, maybe two, but in the process you will damage their wings. You will be exhausted. And the moment you stop running, the butterflies will leave. This is the life of the chaser. Or, you can put down the net. You can stop running. You can devote your energy to cultivating a garden. You till the soil. You plant the seeds. You water them every single day. You pull out the weeds. For a long time, nothing happens. The soil looks bare. Your neighbors might look at you and say, "Why aren't you out there catching butterflies like the rest of us? You are just staring at the dirt." But you know the truth. You're building value. You're creating an ecosystem. And then, one day, the flowers bloom. The garden becomes an oasis of color and scent. And what happens? The butterflies come to you. They come in droves. You don't need a net. You don't need to run. You can simply sit on your porch and enjoy their presence. They're attracted to the environment you have created. And here's the ultimate secret. Even if the butterflies don't come, you still have a beautiful garden. You still have your value. You are not defined by the result. You are defined by the quality of what you have built. This is the state of invincibility. When you chase results, you're a slave to the outcome. If you get it, you're happy. If you don't, you're destroyed. You're on an emotional roller coaster controlled by external factors. But when you focus on becoming a person of value, you are free. Your self-worth comes from your own character, your own skills, your own discipline. The external world cannot take that away from you. Let's apply this to specific areas of life. Consider wealth. Many people chase money directly. They look for shortcuts. They look for the next big thing. They gamble. They try to trick the system. They are obsessed with the result, the number in the bank account. The person of value ignores the number. They obsess over the craft. They ask, how can I become so good that I cannot be ignored? They learn difficult skills. They take responsibility. They build systems. They understand that money is simply a certificate of appreciation from society for services rendered. If you want more certificates, render better service, become more valuable. The money will follow the value like a shadow follows a body. You can't stomp on your shadow to make it stay. But if you stand tall, the shadow is inevitable. Consider relationships. How many people chase love? They're terrified of being alone. They text too much. They compromise their standards. They try to be what they think the other person wants them to be. They are chameleons, hiding their true selves to catch a partner. This never works in the long run. Even if you catch them, you can't keep them because you caught them with a lie. You caught them with a net, not a garden. To attract a high-value partner, you must first become a high-value individual. You must be interesting. You must have your own passions, your own mission, your own life. You must be emotionally secure. When you are complete on your own, you don't need a partner to complete you. You want a partner to share your completeness. This distinction is everything. Needing is chasing. Sharing is attracting. When you are a person of value, you have standards, you have boundaries. And ironically, this makes you infinitely more attractive. People want to be around those who respect themselves. Your self-respect becomes the gravity that draws others in. The journey to becoming a person of value is not a straight line. It's a spiral. It involves failure. It involves rejection. But when you stop chasing results, you interpret failure differently. The chaser sees failure as a stop sign. They think, I didn't get the result, so I failed. The person of value sees failure as data. They think, I didn't get the result, which means my value is not yet high enough. I need to refine my approach. I need to learn more. I need to get better. They don't take it personally. They take it structurally. They go back to the lab. They go back to the gym. They go back to the books. This philosophy demands patience. We live in a world of instant gratification. We want the Amazon Prime delivery of success, but value takes time to compound. Bamboo is a perfect example. For 5 years, the Chinese bamboo tree is watered and fertilized, and it grows very little above ground. It seems like nothing is happening, but underground it's building a massive root system. It's becoming a plant of value. Then, in the 5th year, once the foundation is set, it shoots up 80 feet in 6 weeks. The chaser would have quit in year 3. They would have said, this isn't working. I see no result. They would have moved on to chase something else, digging up their seeds before they had a chance to root. The person of value trusts the invisible progress. They trust that every book read, every workout completed, every hour of focused work is adding to their root system. They know that the visible explosion of results is just the lagging indicator of years of internal construction. So, how do you begin this transformation today? First, stop the noise. Stop looking at what everyone else has. Comparison is the thief of value. It distracts you from your own garden. Second, identify the area where you want results. Is it your career, your health, your social life? Third, stop asking how do I get it, and start asking who do I need to be? Who is the person that naturally has these things? What are their habits? What is their mindset? What is their daily routine? If you want to be a top-tier executive, don't just chase the promotion. Start acting like the executive now. Take responsibility, solve problems, communicate with clarity. Be the value before you get the title. If you want to be physically fit, don't just chase the number on the scale. Become the person who loves movement. Become the person who respects their body with nutritious food. Change your identity, and the body will follow. I do not chase results. This is a declaration of sovereignty. It means you are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are the architect of your destiny. I attract them. This is a declaration of confidence. It means you trust the laws of the universe. You know that cause produces effect. By becoming a person of value, this is the roadmap. It's the daily grind. It's the unglamorous work. It's the commitment to constant, never-ending improvement. Let the others run. Let them exhaust themselves in the frantic pursuit of the mirage. Let them fight over the scraps. You have a different path. You are building a lighthouse. You are building it stone by stone. It's slow. It's heavy. It's lonely work. But when that light turns on, when your value shines across the dark waters of mediocrity, the ships will come. The opportunities will crash upon your shore. The results will not just arrive. They will overwhelm you. They look at the result, the peak of the mountain, and they call it luck. They see the outcome, shining and distinct, but they're blind to the darkness that forged it. To say my work is a product of chance is to insult the silent hours no one witnessed. It's a profound misunderstanding of the physics of achievement. We live in a society addicted to the lottery narrative, obsessed with the story of the accidental hero, the person who was just in the right place at the right time. But this, what you see before you, isn't a lottery ticket. It's a mirror, a high-definition reflection of my knowledge, accumulated drop by drop, in an ocean of patience that most people are too afraid to sail. Luck is a variable I can't control. It's the wind that blows unpredictably. Knowledge, however, is the constant. Knowledge is the engine I've built, bolt by bolt, so I can move forward no matter which way the wind is blowing. Let's dismantle this illusion of fortune and look at the architecture of skill. When I place a brick in the wall of my career, I don't hope it holds. I know it holds. I know because I've studied the mortar, the chemistry of the bond, the physics of stress. I have failed enough times in private to know exactly what collapses and what endures. That's not luck. That's data. It's painful lessons encoded into my instincts. Luck is stumbling into a good situation unprepared. It's rare, and it's fleeting. You can't build a house on a foundation of fleeting moments. Consistency is the enemy of luck. It proves the method is valid. If I do it once, you can call it a fluke. twice, maybe a coincidence. But if I can do it every day, for a decade, through sickness and health, through market crashes and boom cycles, you have to call it knowledge. My work reflects the books I read while the world was sleeping, the podcasts I dissected while others sought entertainment, the questions I asked when others were content with easy answers. It reflects the discipline to say no to 1,000 distractions, so I could say yes to this one singular pursuit of mastery. Consider the iceberg. It is a cliché, because it is true. You see the tip above the water, the success, the viral moment, the applause, but submerge yourself. Go down into the freezing cold water where it's dark and lonely. Look at the mass beneath the surface. That mass is knowledge. It's the foundation that prevents the tip from capsizing in the storm. Without that mass, the smallest wave of bad luck would destroy me. So, when the storm comes and I'm still standing, don't tell me I was lucky the wind didn't blow me over. Tell me I built a structure strong enough to ignore the wind. There's a philosophy in preparation that turns the chaotic universe into a manageable path. I don't gamble with my work. A gambler relies on the turn of a card. A professional relies on the certainty of his craft, which is entirely internal. My craft is a direct projection of my mind. If my mind is cluttered, my work is messy. If my mind is sharp, my work is precise. Luck can't sharpen a mind. Only effort can. Only the grind, the repetition, the boring, unsexy work of doing the same thing until you can't get it wrong. People want the shortcut, the hack, the secret algorithm that bypasses the need for deep understanding. But there is no bypass for wisdom. You can't download experience into your brain like a file. You have to live through it. You must suffer through the confusion until it clarifies into insight. Every flaw in my early work was a gap in my knowledge. Every perfection in my current work is a bridge I built over that gap. I filled the void with study. I filled the silence with practice. To attribute this to luck is to rob the human spirit of its agency. It implies we are just leaves blowing in the wind, helpless to determine our own trajectory. I refuse to be a leaf. I am the root. I dig deep into the soil of information to find the nutrients of success. My work is the fruit of that root. It's sweet, not because of the sun that happened to shine, but because of the roots that fought through the hard earth to find water. Let's talk about intuition. People see a master make a quick decision and they call it a lucky guess. They see a painter make a stroke, or a coder fix a bug in seconds, and they think it was magic. It's not magic. It's not a guess. Intuition is just knowledge, moving faster than the speed of conscious thought. It's thousands of hours of data compressed into a single second of action. It's the muscle memory of the brain. When I make the right move in a split second, it's because I've made the wrong move 1,000 times in practice. I've eliminated the error through the acquisition of knowledge. The world is noisy. It screams about overnight success. It highlights the lottery winners on the front page. But anomalies are not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. Luck is not a strategy. Knowledge is the only strategy that is sustainable. My work is a biography. If you read it carefully, it tells you everything I've learned. It tells you about the mentors I studied, the theories I tested. It reveals my philosophy of quality. A lucky win tells you nothing about the winner, other than that they were present. But a body of work, a legacy of quality, that tells you about the soul of the creator. It says, this person did not sleep until they understood. This person did not stop until it was right. The detail, the nuance, the precision, these are the fingerprints of knowledge. Luck has no fingerprints. My work has texture. It has the rough edges of struggle and the polished surfaces of understanding. When you look at what I've created, understand that you are looking at time converted into value. I traded my time for knowledge, and then I used that knowledge to create this. If I had relied on luck, I'd still be waiting for the stars to align, for permission, for a gatekeeper to open the door. Knowledge gives you permission. It gives you the authority to act. I don't need the universe to favor me. I need my skills to support me. There is a deep, resonant peace in this. If my success depended on luck, I would be chronically anxious, terrified it would run out. But knowledge compounds. It's an asset that can't be stolen or lost. Therefore, I am calm. My work is consistent because my source is internal, not external. External forces are chaotic. Markets change, algorithms change, trends fade. But the fundamental principles of quality, the deep understanding of human nature, the mastery of the tool, those things are eternal. They are the bedrock. So when you judge my work, judge it as a reflection of my library, not my lottery ticket. I am not lucky to be here. I am prepared to be here. And being prepared often looks like luck to those who have never tried to be ready. Let's talk about the failures. The invisible graveyard of attempts that didn't work. Each failure was a lesson encoded into my neural pathways. I learned 100 ways how not to do it. Is that bad luck? No. That is tuition. I paid the price of admission to expertise. My work stands tall now because it stands on a pile of mistakes that I analyzed and corrected. Correction is the key. You can't correct luck. You can only correct your understanding. The amateur waits for inspiration, hoping lightning strikes. The professional knows inspiration is just knowledge applying itself to a problem. I don't wait for the muse. I have a toolkit. My knowledge is my toolkit. I can build in the rain, in the dark, when I am tired or unmotivated because I know how the pieces fit together. Luck requires fair weather. Knowledge carries its own weather. Reflect on your own path. How much of what you have is given, and how much is earned? The things that are given can be taken away. The things that are earned become part of your DNA. My work is my DNA projected into the world. If I stopped working today, my luck would stop, but my knowledge would remain. I could rebuild from zero. That is the ultimate test. Take everything away: the money, the fame, the platform. Drop me in a new city with nothing. I will rise again. Not because I'll get lucky, but because I know how to rise. I know the mechanics of ascent. That confidence separates the hopeful from the capable. My work reflects a refusal to be a victim of circumstance. Circumstance is the dealer. Knowledge is how you play the hand. I have won with bad hands. I have seen others lose with royal flushes because they lacked the knowledge to leverage their luck. Even when luck appears, it takes knowledge to recognize it and seize it. So, even the lucky breaks are just opportunities my preparation allowed me to see. My work is a lens. It focuses my energy into a laser. Luck is a diffuse light, weak and scattered. I choose the laser. I choose the deliberate act of creation over the random act of chance. Every product I build, every problem I solve is a testament to study. That is not luck. That is respect for the craft. Respect for the truth that nothing comes from nothing. We live in an age of instant gratification, but my work is a slow burn. The long game requires a map. Knowledge is the map. Luck is just wandering in the forest hoping to find treasure before you starve. I am not wandering, I am marching. I have a destination and I have a compass. Look closely at the details. They say the devil is in the details, but so is the mastery. A lucky success is usually vague. It falls apart under scrutiny. But work built on knowledge withstands scrutiny. You can zoom in. It holds up because it's solid all the way through. There is no hollow center where the luck used to be. It's 100% density of intent. My work is a mirror. Do you see magic or do you see logic? I hope you see logic, because if you see logic you realize you can do it too. If it was luck, you'd be hopeless, waiting for a miracle. But because it's knowledge, you're empowered. You can't replicate my luck, but you can replicate my knowledge. That is the generosity of mastery. It's reproducible, it's scientific. So, when I say my work is a reflection of my knowledge, I'm offering you a blueprint. I'm saying this is a solvable puzzle, it's not a slot machine. Stop pulling the lever and start reading the manual. The manual is out there in books, in mentors, in the painful hours of practice. My work is simply the manual put into action. There were days I wanted to quit, days when nothing went right. But knowledge whispered to me, trust the process. The variables will align if the constants are true, and they did. To claim luck is to dim the light of human potential. Knowledge makes us giants. I defy the odds with my mind. Do not call me lucky. Call me obsessed, disciplined, educated. Call me a student of the game. But do not dismiss the sweat on my brow as rain from the heavens. I made the rain, I tended the garden when no one was watching. And now, I share the harvest. In the end, the luck fades. The stories fade, but the work remains. It stands as a monument to what I knew. My work is proof that I was here, and that I paid attention. Luck is for those who are asleep at the wheel. I am awake, my eyes are open, and my hands are busy building. Take this as a declaration. We do not pray for easy lives. We study for difficult ones. We do not wish for luck. We build capacity. My work is a reflection of my knowledge, not my luck. And if you look at your own work and see gaps, don't look for a four-leaf clover. Look for a book. Look for a teacher. Look for a challenge that scares you. Fill the gaps with wisdom, and luck will become irrelevant. That is the only way to be truly free from the tyranny of chance. I am free. My work is my freedom paper, signed by my own hand, sealed with my own effort. Remember this when you see the result. Remember the invisible input, and go build your own mirror. A mirror so polished by knowledge that it shines like a diamond. But never forget, it's not a diamond found in the dirt. It's a diamond forged in pressure. The pressure of learning, of failing, of knowing. My work is a reflection of my knowledge, and that is everything. Today, I make a choice that contradicts the very biological wiring of my existence. Today, I trade instant gratification for long-term wisdom. This isn't a passive event, it's an act of rebellion against the modern world. We live in an era that has engineered every single aspect of our lives to bypass the wait. We've eliminated the interval between desire and acquisition. If we're hungry, food arrives in minutes. If we're bored, entertainment floods our screens in seconds. If we're lonely, artificial connection is just a swipe away. We've become masters of the now, and in doing so, we've become slaves to the impulse. But today, I step out of that cycle. I recognize that the easy path, the path of least resistance, is a downward slope that leads to a shallow existence. To choose wisdom is to choose the uphill climb. It is to choose resistance. It's to look at the candy, the notification, the shortcut, and the easy exit, and to say no. Not because I deprive myself, but because I am saving myself for something substantial. The trade is simple in theory but excruciating in practice. I am trading the cheap, sugary hit of dopamine for the slow, burning stability of serotonin. Instant gratification is a flashbang grenade. It's bright, loud, and blinding, but it leaves you disoriented and empty the moment it fades. Wisdom is the sunrise. It takes time. It moves slowly. You have to wait through the dark cold of the pre-dawn. But when it rises, it illuminates everything, and it stays. It provides warmth that sustains. Most people spend their lives chasing flashbangs, running from one explosion of pleasure to the next, wondering why they feel so cold in the spaces between. Today, I choose the cold. I choose to sit in the darkness and do the work, knowing that the sun is inevitable if I simply persist. This trade requires a fundamental shift in identity. I am no longer a consumer of moments. I am an investor in eras. When I deny the impulse to scroll through social media, I'm not just saving time. I'm reclaiming the sovereignty of my attention. The world wants my attention fragmented. It wants me to look at everything for 1 second so I can see nothing truly. By refusing that urge, I trade the instant gratification of distraction for the long-term wisdom of focus. Focus is the rarest commodity in the 21st century. By protecting it, I'm building a fortress of mind that few possess. The pain of boredom I feel when I put the phone away is the growing pain of a mind stretching itself. I welcome that boredom. Boredom is the filter. It filters out the noise so the signal can be heard. In that silence, ideas are born. In that silence, self-reflection occurs. You cannot hear the whisper of wisdom if you are constantly screaming with the noise of consumption. Consider the nature of skill. The amateur wants the hack. They want the 3 easy steps to mastery. They want to play the song without practicing the scales. That's the hunger for instant gratification. The desire for the trophy without the race. But I know that a trophy bought is worthless. A trophy earned is priceless. So, today I trade the illusion of competence for the reality of the grind. I accept that I will be bad at this before I'm good. I accept the clumsiness. I accept the confusion. I trade the comfort of feeling smart today for the actual intelligence of tomorrow. The ego hates it. The ego wants to be applauded now. The ego screams, "Look at me, I am special." Wisdom whispers, "Be patient. You are building." I choose the whisper. I choose to be invisible today so that I can be undeniable a decade from now. This philosophy extends to my body and my health. The cake, the alcohol, the comfort of the couch. These are the high priests of instant gratification. They promise relief, they promise pleasure, and they deliver for about 5 minutes. Then they take my energy, my clarity, my longevity. It's a predatory loan with a terrible interest rate. Today, I refuse to sign that contract. I trade the momentary pleasure of the taste buds for the long-term wisdom of vitality. I choose the workout that hurts. I choose the food that nourishes but doesn't thrill. I'm treating my body not as a dumpster for pleasure, but as a vehicle for purpose. The wisdom of the body is slow to accumulate, but once it's there, it allows you to move through the world with a power the hedonist can never understand. Let's speak of relationships. Instant gratification seeks the hookup, the shallow validation, the quick laugh. It avoids conflict and vulnerability. It wants the connection without the risk, but that's a hollow trade. Today, I trade easy popularity for deep respect. I trade the quick fix of an apology for the long-term wisdom of changed behavior. Building a relationship that lasts is like building a cathedral. It takes years. You lay stones that no one sees. You have conversations that are difficult. You sacrifice your need to be right in the moment for the greater goal of being together in the future. That is wisdom. Wisdom knows that trust isn't a switch you flip. It's a tree you water. I'm willing to carry the water buckets today, even when my arms are tired, because I want the shade of that tree when I'm old. Financially, the trade is obvious yet rarely executed. Instant gratification is the new car, the branded clothes, the expensive dinner you put on a credit card. It's looking rich to impress people who don't care about you. It's stealing from your future self to entertain your present self. It's a crime against time. Today, I trade the appearance of wealth for the foundation of freedom. I wear the old clothes. I drive the old car. I invest the difference. I am buying my freedom day by day. Every dollar I do unspend on nonsense is a soldier I send to the front lines of my future to fight for my independence. The wisdom of compound interest is a long game. It's boring. It looks like nothing is happening for a long time, but I'm not addicted to the spectacle. I'm addicted to the result. I'm willing to look poor today to be free tomorrow. There's a spiritual dimension to this trade. Instant gratification is the ego demanding the universe revolve around it. Wisdom is the maturity of the adult who understands their place in the cosmos. I trade the anxiety of control for the wisdom of acceptance. I trade the need for constant stimulation for the ability to sit in silence with myself. Can you sit in a room, alone, for an hour, without a device, without a book, and just be? If you can't, you're a slave to stimulation. Today, I practice the art of being in this state. I find a peace that no purchase can provide. I find a stability that no drug can induce. It's the stability of a mountain. Storms may come, trends may change, the world may panic, but the mountain remains. I am building that mountain inside my ribcage. The trade is also about emotional regulation. When I feel anger, instant gratification is to shout, to send a nasty text, to explode. It feels good to release that pressure. It feels righteous, but it's a trap. It destroys in seconds what took years to build. Today I trade the release of anger for the wisdom of patience. I hold the fire in my mouth and I don't let it burn the bridge. I swallow the pride. I wait 24 hours. This is excruciating. Every cell in my body wants to react, but I respond. Reaction is instinct. Response is wisdom. By waiting, I gain perspective. I see the chessboard, not just a single pawn. I choose the move that wins the game, not the move that takes a piece. We must understand that this trade is an act of love for the future version of myself. Most people treat their future self like a stranger. They dump their debt, their health problems, and their regrets onto that stranger. They say, that's a problem for future me. I refuse to do that. Future me is my best friend. Future me is the one who will inherit the kingdom I am building today. I love him too much to leave him with a ruin. So, when I deny myself the pleasure today, I am sending a gift through time. And one day, I will wake up and I will be that future me, and I will receive that gift, and I will be grateful. I will look back at the man I am today and say, thank you. Thank you for not eating that. Thank you for studying that. Thank you for saving that. Thank you for enduring that. This perspective changes the nature of suffering. Suffering is no longer meaningless pain. It's the price of admission to a higher state of being. The gym is not punishment, it's construction. The study session is not a chore, it's an investment. The difficult conversation is not a fight, it's calibration. When you reframe the pain as the currency with which you buy wisdom, the pain becomes meaningful. You start to seek out the friction, because you know the friction is where the growth lives. Instant gratification wants a frictionless life, but a frictionless life has no traction. You can't move forward on ice, you need the grit. Today, I embrace the friction. I trade the slippery slope of ease for the rough terrain of ascent. Consider the wisdom of nature. A mighty oak tree doesn't grow in a day. It needs the seasons. It needs the winter to strengthen its roots. It needs the wind to toughen its wood. Instant gratification is a plastic tree. It looks perfect immediately, but it's dead. It has no roots. It cannot support life. I am growing an oak. I want to be a pillar. I want to provide shade for others. To do that, I must endure the slow process of growth. I must trade the desire to be finished for the wisdom of becoming. This trade requires a rejection of comparison. Social media is a machine designed to make you feel behind. You see everyone else's highlight reel and you feel the urge to rush. But wisdom knows that comparison is the thief of joy. I trade the envy of others for the focus on my own path. I'm not running their race, I'm running mine. My race is a marathon, not a sprint. In a marathon, you pace yourself, you endure. The sprinters look fast now, but I'll pass them at mile 20 when they re-gasping for air and I am just finding my rhythm. I'm trading the applause of the starting line for the glory of the finish line. Every time I make this trade, I'm casting a vote for the person I wish to become. Every salad over pizza is a vote for a healthy me. Every book over browser is a vote for a wise me. These votes accumulate. Millions of microscopic decisions create a macroscopic destiny. A life built on instant gratification is a house of cards. One gust of wind, a job loss, a breakup, a health scare, and the whole thing collapses. A life built on long-term wisdom is a stone fortress. The wind can howl, the earth can shake, but the stones hold. They hold because they were placed with intention. I want that security. I want to look at the horizon and fear nothing, knowing that I have prepared. What I learn today, I can teach tomorrow. The character I build today becomes the example for my children. I'm trading the selfish consumption of the present for the selfless contribution to the future. I want my life to echo. I choose to be a source, not a sink. I live by a code, not by a mood. Principles are the compass. They point north regardless of the weather. True freedom is not the absence of restraint, it's the presence of self-control. I break those chains today. I trade superficial width for profound depth. The modern world encourages us to be an inch deep and a mile wide. Wisdom is the drill. It goes deep until it hits oil. Depth is where the gold is buried. The digging is hard, but the trade is undeniable. This is a lonely path, and I accept that. Most people are at the carnival. I'm in the library. I'm in the gym. I'm happy to miss the carnival because I know it leaves town tomorrow. I am building a city that stays. I trade the popularity of the crowd for the respect of my own conscience. Let this be a manifesto for the long haul. I am putting on the blinders. The journey is long. The sea is rough. But I know that when I arrive, I will not arrive empty-handed. I will arrive carrying the heavy, precious cargo of wisdom. Today, the trade is made. The transaction is complete. I hand over my impulse, my laziness, my need for approval. In return, I take the heavy weight of responsibility. I take the silence of patience. It seems like a bad deal to the fool, but to the wise, it is the bargain of a lifetime. For in this trade I gain myself. I gain the only thing that truly belongs to me, my character. Everything else is borrowed. Wisdom is owned, and today I start buying. Today, I trade instant gratification for long-term wisdom, and I will make that trade again tomorrow, and the day after, until the long-term becomes the present, and I stand in the house that wisdom built, knowing that every brick was paid for with a moment of discipline. This is the way. This is the life I choose. Today I make a choice that contradicts the very biological wiring of my existence. Today I trade instant gratification for long-term wisdom. This is not a passive event. It is an active rebellion against the modern world. We live in an era that has engineered every single aspect of our lives to bypass the wait. We have eliminated the interval between desire and acquisition. If we are hungry, food arrives at the door in minutes. If we are bored, entertainment floods our screens in seconds. If we are lonely, artificial connection is just a swipe away. We have become masters of the now, and in doing so, we have become slaves to impulse. But today, I step out of that cycle. I recognize that the easy path, the path of least resistance, is a downward slope that leads to a shallow existence. To choose wisdom is to choose the uphill climb. It is to choose the resistance. It is to look at the candy, the notification, the shortcut, and the easy exit, and to say no, not because I deprive myself, but because I am saving myself for something substantial. The trade is simple in theory, but excruciating in practice. I am trading the cheap, sugary hit of dopamine for the slow-burning stability of serotonin. Instant gratification is a flashbang grenade. It is bright, loud, and blinding, but it leaves you disoriented and empty the moment it fades. Wisdom is the sunrise. It takes time to appear. It moves slowly. You have to wade through the dark cold of the pre-dawn. But when it rises, it illuminates everything, and it stays. It provides warmth that sustains. Most people spend their lives chasing flashbangs, running from one explosion of pleasure to the next, wondering why they feel so cold in the spaces between. Today, I choose the cold. I choose to sit in the darkness and do the work, knowing that the sun is inevitable if I simply persist. This trade requires a fundamental shift in identity. I am no longer a consumer of moments. I am an investor in eras. When I deny the impulse to scroll through social media, I am not just saving time. I am reclaiming the sovereignty of my attention. The world wants my attention fragmented. It wants me to look at everything for 1 second so I can see nothing truly. By refusing that urge, I trade the instant gratification of distraction for the long-term wisdom of focus. Focus is the rarest commodity in the 21st century. By protecting it, I am building a fortress of mind that few possess. The pain of boredom that I feel when I put the phone away is the growing pain of a mind stretching itself. I welcome that boredom. Boredom is the filter. It filters out the noise so that the signal can be heard. In that silence, ideas are born. In that silence, self-reflection occurs. You cannot hear the whisper of wisdom if you are constantly screaming with the noise of consumption. Consider the nature of skill. The amateur wants the hack. They want the 3 easy steps to mastery. They want to play the song without practicing the scales. They want to speak the language without memorizing the grammar. That is the hunger for instant gratification. It is the desire for the trophy without the race. But I know that a trophy bought is worthless. A trophy earned is priceless. So, today I trade the illusion of competence for the reality of the grind. I accept that I will be bad at this before I am good. I accept the clumsiness. I accept the confusion. I trade the comfort of feeling smart today for the actual intelligence of tomorrow. This is a painful trade. The ego hates it. The ego wants to be applauded now. The ego screams, "Look at me, I am special." Wisdom whispers, "Be patient, you are building." I choose the whisper. I choose to be invisible today so that I can be undeniable a decade from now. This philosophy extends to my body and my health. The cake, the alcohol, the comfort of the couch, these are the high priests of instant gratification. They promise relief, they promise pleasure, and they deliver, for about 5 minutes, and then they take my energy, they take my clarity, they take my longevity. It is a predatory loan with a terrible interest rate. Today, I refuse to sign that contract. I trade the momentary pleasure of the taste buds for the long-term wisdom of vitality. I choose the workout that hurts. I choose the food that nourishes but does not thrill. I am treating my body not as a dumpster for pleasure, but as a vehicle for purpose. The wisdom of the body is slow to accumulate, but once it is there, it allows you to move through the world with a power that the hedonist can never understand. The hedonist is fragile. The disciplined man is antifragile. Let us speak of relationships. Instant gratification seeks the hookup, the shallow validation, the quick laugh, the surface-level agreement. It avoids conflict. It avoids vulnerability. It wants the connection without the risk. But that is a hollow trade. Today I trade the easy popularity for the deep respect. I trade the quick fix of an apology for the long-term wisdom of changed behavior. Building a relationship that lasts is like building a cathedral. It takes years. You lay stones that no one sees. You have conversations that are difficult and uncomfortable. You sacrifice your need to be right in the moment for the greater goal of being together in the future. That is wisdom. Wisdom knows that trust is not a switch you flip. It is a tree you water. I am willing to carry the water buckets today, even when my arms are tired, because I want the shade of that tree when I am old. Financially, the trade is obvious yet rarely executed. Instant gratification is the new car, the branded clothes, the expensive dinner that you put on a credit card. It is looking rich to impress people who do not care about you. It is stealing from your future self to entertain your present self. It is a crime against time. Today, I trade the appearance of wealth for the foundation of freedom. I wear the old clothes. I drive the old car. I invest the difference. I am buying my freedom day by day. Every dollar I do not spend on nonsense is a soldier I send to the front lines of my future to fight for my independence. The wisdom of compound interest is a long game. It is boring. It looks like nothing is happening for a long time. But I am not addicted to the spectacle. I am addicted to the result. I am willing to look poor today to be free tomorrow. This is the trade of the wise. There is a spiritual dimension to this trade. Instant gratification is the ego demanding the universe revolve around it. It is the tantrum of the child who wants the toy. Wisdom is the maturity of the adult who understands their place in the cosmos. I trade the anxiety of control for the wisdom of acceptance. I trade the need for constant stimulation for the ability to sit in silence with myself. Can you sit in a room, alone, for an hour, without a device, without a book, and just be? You cannot. You are a slave to stimulation. Today, I practice the art of being. I trade the noise of doing for the wisdom of being. In this state, I find a peace that no purchase can provide. I find a stability that no drug can induce. It is the stability of a mountain. Storms may come, trends may change, the world may panic, but the mountain remains. I am building that mountain inside my ribcage. The trade is also about emotional regulation. When I feel anger, the instant gratification is to shout, to send the nasty text, to explode. It feels good to release that pressure. It feels righteous, but it is a trap. It destroys in seconds what took years to build. Today, I trade the release of anger for the wisdom of patience. I hold the fire in my mouth and I do not let it burn the bridge. I swallow the pride. I wait 24 hours. This is excruciating. Every cell in my body wants to react, but I respond. Reaction is instinct. Response is wisdom. By waiting, I gain perspective. I see the chessboard, not just the single pawn. I choose the move that wins the game, not the move that takes a piece. I am playing a grand strategy game while the world is playing whack-a-mole. We must understand that this trade is an act of love. It is an act of love for the future version of myself. Most people treat their future self like a stranger. They dump their debt, their health problems, and their regrets onto that stranger. They say, that's a problem for future me. I refuse to do that. Future me is my best friend. Future me is the one who will inherit the kingdom I am building today. I love him too much to leave him with a ruin. I want to hand him a fortress. I want to hand him a healthy body, a sharp mind, and a free life. So, when I deny myself the pleasure today, I am sending a gift through time. I am wrapping up a moment of discipline and mailing it to tomorrow. And one day I will wake up and I will be that future me, and I will receive that gift, and I will be grateful. I will look back at the man I am today and say, thank you. Thank you for not eating that. Thank you for studying that. Thank you for saving that. Thank you for enduring that. This perspective changes the nature of suffering. Suffering is no longer meaningless pain. It is the price of admission to a higher state of being. The gym is not punishment, it is construction. The study session is not a chore, it is an investment. The difficult conversation is not a fight, it is a calibration. When you reframe the pain as the currency with which you buy wisdom, the pain becomes bearable. In fact, it becomes meaningful. You start to seek out the friction, because you know the friction is where the growth lives. Instant gratification tries to remove all friction. It wants a frictionless life, but a frictionless life has no traction. You cannot move forward on ice, you need the grit. You need the resistance to push off against. Today, I embrace the friction. I trade the slippery slope of ease for the rough terrain of ascent. Consider the wisdom of nature. A mighty oak tree does not grow in a day. If you tried to force it to grow in a day, you would kill it. It needs the seasons. It needs the winter to strengthen its roots. It needs the wind to toughen its wood. Instant gratification is a plastic tree. It looks perfect immediately, but it is dead. It has no roots. It produces no oxygen. It cannot support life. I am growing an oak. I am not interested in being a plastic decoration in the garden of humanity. I want to be a pillar. I want to provide shade for others. To do that, I must endure the slow process of growth. I must trade the desire to be finished for the wisdom of becoming. There is no finish line. There is only the continuous deepening of the roots. This trade requires a rejection of comparison. Social media is a machine designed to make you feel behind. You see everyone else's highlight reel, their vocations, their wins, their apparent speed on. You feel the urge to rush. You want to catch up. You want the instant result to prove you are enough. But wisdom knows that comparison is the thief of joy and the enemy of progress. I trade the envy of others for the focus on my own path. I am not running their race. I am running mine. My race is a marathon, not a sprint. In a marathon, you do not sprint at the start. You conserve, you pace, you endure. The sprinters look fast now, but I will pass them at mile 20 when they are gasping for air, and I am just finding my rhythm. I am trading the applause of the starting line for the glory of the finish line. The wisdom I seek is not just intellectual, it is experiential. You can read about patience, but you only learn patience by waiting. You can read about courage, but you only learn courage by facing fear. Instant gratification robs you of these experiences. It solves the problem before you have a chance to grow from it. It numbs the pain before the pain can teach you. Today, I trade the numbing agent for the raw sensation of life. If I am sad, I will feel sad, and I will learn what sadness has to teach me. If I am struggling, I will struggle, and I will learn my own strength. I will not self-medicate with distraction. I want the full human experience, not the edited, sanitized, accelerated version. Wisdom is found in the texture of reality, not in the gloss of escapism. Every time I make this trade, I am casting a vote for the person I wish to become. Every time I choose the salad over the pizza, I vote for a healthy me. Every time I choose the book over the browser, I vote for a wise me. Every time I choose silence over gossip, I vote for a dignified me. These votes accumulate. They are not grand gestures. They are microscopic decisions. But millions of microscopic decisions create a macroscopic destiny. The tragedy of instant gratification is that it feels insignificant in the moment. Just one cookie, just 5 minutes, just $1. It seems harmless, but it is the drip of water that erodes the canyon. It is the termite that eats the house. Today, I am vigilant against the termites. I trade the just this once for the never again. I trade the exception for the rule. I am trading the fragile for the robust. A life built on instant gratification is a house of cards. One gust of wind, job loss, a breakup, a health scare, and the whole thing collapses because there is no substance holding it together. It was all surface level. A life built on long-term wisdom is a stone fortress. The wind can howl, the earth can shake, but the stones hold. They hold because they were placed with intention. They hold because the mortar was mixed with sweat and patience. I want that security. I want to look at the horizon and fear nothing, knowing that I have prepared, I have saved, I have learned, I have disciplined myself. That peace of mind is worth every single sacrificed pleasure. And what of? We live in a world obsessed with measurement. From the moment we're born, we're assigned a number, weight, length, time of birth. As we grow, the numbers change, but the obsession remains. Grades in school, rank in class, salary in the bank, followers on the screen, likes on a post. We're taught that these digits are the coordinates of our worth. We're told that if the number goes up, we're good. If it goes down, we're failing. But I reject this dashboard. I reject the idea that a human soul can be calculated on a spreadsheet. I am not a statistic. I am not a data point in an algorithm. I am not defined by numbers. I am defined by skill. To define yourself by numbers is to build a house on the edge of a cliff. Numbers are external. They're fragile. They're subject to inflation, market crashes, algorithm changes, and the whims of public opinion. If my worth is tied to my bank balance, who am I when the market crashes? If my worth is tied to my audience size, who am I when the platform bans me? If I'm defined by the score on the scoreboard, who am I when the game is over? The person who chases numbers is a slave to the counter, constantly looking at the scoreboard, terrified the digits might slip. I don't look at the scoreboard, I look at the game. I look at the craft. I look at the capability of my own 2 hands and my own mind. Skill is the only true currency. It's the only asset that can't be stolen, taxed, or devalued. You can take my money, you can take my house, you can strip my reputation, but you cannot take the fact that I know how to build. You cannot take the fact that I know how to solve the problem. You can't extract the thousands of hours of practice that are woven into my neural pathways. Skill is internal. It's part of the bone structure of my character. When I walk into a room, I don't bring a resume of numbers. I bring a toolkit of competencies. I bring the certainty that whatever happens, I can handle it. Not because I'm lucky, but because I am skilled. The world loves the influencer, but it relies on the master. The influencer has numbers, millions of eyes, millions of likes. But if the electricity goes out, if the server crashes, if civilization teeters, the influencer is useless. The master, however, the carpenter, the surgeon, the mechanic, the coder, the writer, the strategist, the master becomes a god. Why? Because the master can manipulate reality. They can take chaos and turn it into order. The master doesn't need an audience to validate their existence. They need a problem to solve, and they solve it with a grace that only comes from skill. I choose to be the master, not the mascot. Let's talk about the hollowness of metrics. A number is a binary representation of a complex reality. It strips away nuance. A salary tells you how much a person is paid, but it doesn't tell you the value they provide. It doesn't tell you about their integrity, their creativity, or their leadership. A test score tells you how well a student memorized a fact, but it doesn't tell you if they understand the concept. When we prioritize the number, we incentivize the cheat. If the goal is just to get a higher grade, we cheat. If the goal is just to get more money, we exploit. If the goal is just to get more views, we create clickbait. The number corrupts the mission. But when the definition is skill, cheating is impossible. You can't fake skill. You can fake a screenshot of a bank account, but you can't fake playing the piano. You can't fake speaking a foreign language. You can't fake writing code that works. Skill is the ultimate truth teller. It exposes the fraud and elevates the genuine. I'm often told that I need to scale. Get the numbers up, they say. Optimize for growth, but I'm optimizing for depth. The ocean is vast, but the surface is just waves and foam. The real life, the real pressure, the real mystery is in the deep. I want a skill set that is deep. I want to understand my craft so profoundly that I can improvise. Intuition is just skill that has been compressed by time. When a master makes a decision in a split second, it looks like a guess to the amateur, but it's not a guess. It's the result of processing 1 million data points of experience instantly. That's the level I seek. That level is not measured in likes, it's measured in impact. There's a peace in releasing the attachment to numbers. When you stop counting, you start seeing. You start seeing the quality of the work, the texture of the material, the nuance of the argument. The number-obsessed mind is anxious. It's always comparing. He has more than me. She is faster than me. The skill-obsessed mind is focused. It's always learning. How did he do that? What can I learn from this? Comparison is the thief of joy, but curiosity is the engine of growth. I trade comparison for curiosity. I trade the anxiety of rank for the joy of mastery. Consider the athlete. The world looks at the stats, the batting average, the sprint time, the medal count. But the true athlete isn't thinking about the medal during the race. They're thinking about the mechanics of their stride, the rhythm of their breath, the execution of the technique. They know the number on the clock is just a lagging indicator of the skill in their body. You can't chase the number, you must chase the form. If the form is perfect, the number takes care of itself. I stop chasing the outcome and I fall in love with the process. The process is where the skill is built. The podium is just where the skill is recognized. I can live without the recognition. I cannot live without the skill. This philosophy applies to time as well. Age is a number, we let it define us. I'm too old to start, I'm too young to lead. These are shackles made of digits. Skill doesn't care about your birth year. Skill only cares about your dedication. If a 20-year-old can perform the surgery, I want the 20-year-old. If a 70-year-old can run the marathon, I respect the 70-year-old. I don't let the calendar dictate my capacity. I define myself by what I can do today, not by how many years I have existed. I am timeless because my pursuit of excellence is timeless. And what of money? Money is the loudest number of them all. It screams for attention. It demands to be the primary metric of success, and yes, money is a tool. It's necessary. But it is a terrible master. If I define myself by my net worth, I'm essentially saying that I'm a product to be bought and sold. I am not a product. I am a creator. I trade my skill for money, but the money is not me. The money is just the receipt. The value is the skill. If I lose the money, I can get it back, because I still have the machine that created it. I am the machine. The skill is the engine. The money is just the exhaust. When I focus on skill, I become antifragile. The world is changing fast. Automation, artificial intelligence, globalization. The jobs defined by simple numbers are being replaced by machines. The machine can crunch numbers faster than I can. But the machine can't replicate the human touch of high-level skill. It can't replicate empathy, strategic synthesis, the creative leap. By doubling down on deep, complex, human skill, I am immunizing myself against obsolescence. I am becoming irreplaceable. The number crunchers will be replaced by better calculators. The artists, the leaders, the problem solvers will remain. There's a painful side to this. Acquiring skill is hard. It's boring. It requires repetition. It requires failure. It requires sitting in a room alone and doing the thing you bad at until you not bad at it anymore. It's much easier to chase numbers. It's easier to buy a bot to inflate your followers than it is to create content that is actually good. But the easy path leads to a fragile destination. I choose the hard path. I choose the sweat. I choose the frustration of the learning curve, because on the other side of that frustration is power, real power, the power to do what others cannot. My confidence comes from competence. It does not come from affirmation. You can tell me I'm great, but if I know I lack the skill, your words are empty. You can tell me I'm terrible, but if I know I have the skill, your words are irrelevant. I am my own judge. I have an internal standard that is higher than any external metric. I know when I've cut a corner, when I've given less than my best, and I hold myself accountable. The numbers might lie to you, but my skill does not lie to me. It is a mirror. It shows me exactly where I am weak and exactly where I need to grow. Let's speak of legacy. When I'm gone, the numbers will fade. No one remembers the bank account balance of the person who died 100 years ago. What remains is the work. What remains is the art, the bridge that was built, the cure that was found, the song that was written. The skill leaves a fingerprint on history. The numbers are washed away by the tide of time. I want to leave a fingerprint. I want my great-grandchildren to look at something I built and say, they knew what they were doing. Not they had a high score, but they had a high standard. Society tries to gamify existence. It turns life into a video game where we grind for points. But life is not a game of points. It's a canvas for expression. Skill is the paint. The more skill I have, the more colors I have access to, the more precise my brush strokes, the more vivid my picture. I refuse to paint a monochrome life just to get a high score from the critics. I want to paint a masterpiece of capability. I challenge you to look at your own life. Where are you letting numbers dictate your mood? Where are you letting a scale, or a bank app, or a social media profile tell you who you are? Tear down those idols. Smash the dashboard. Reclaim your identity. Ask yourself, what can I do? What am I learning? If the answer is nothing, then don't worry about the numbers. Worry about the skills. Start today. Pick a craft, a discipline, and start the long, slow, beautiful climb toward mastery. Don't look at the summit. Don't count the steps. Just climb. This definition of self through skill frees me from envy. If I see someone with more numbers than me, I feel nothing. But if I see someone with more skill than me, I feel respect. I feel inspired. I want to study them. Game recognizes game. Skill recognizes skill. We form a brotherhood and sisterhood of the capable. We don't compete on metrics. We collaborate on quality. We push each other to be better, not to be bigger. Bigness is a metric. Betterness is a virtue. I am a craftsman of my own life. I chisel away the parts of me that are weak. I polish the parts of me that are rough. This is not a task that can be quantified. There's no progress bar for wisdom, no percentage complete for character. It's an infinite game. And I love that it's infinite. It means I never have to stop. A number chaser retires when they hit their target number. A skill chaser never retires, because there's always another level of nuance to discover. The master musician plays until their fingers stop working, not because they need the money, but because they need the music. I need the music of high performance, so let the world count. Let the analysts analyze. I'll be over here, in the workshop of reality, sharpening my blade. I am not a calculated average. I am a unique force. My value isn't written on a price tag. It's demonstrated in the arena. When the dust settles and the numbers are forgotten, the skill remains. I am the skill. And that's a definition that no one can erase. Ultimately, this is a spiritual stance. It's a declaration that the human spirit is qualitative, not quantitative. We are infinite beings, not finite calculations. To reduce a human to a number is a sign against potential. I refuse to commit that sin against myself. I honor my potential by cultivating my ability. I honor the gift of life by becoming good at living it. Not good as in a high score, but good as in high quality, deep, rich, textured, skilled living. I am not defined by numbers. I am defined by skill. This is my mantra. This is my shield against the noise of the modern world. This is the truth that grounds me, and as I walk forward, I don't count the steps. I just make sure that every step is placed with precision, with power, and with purpose. I am the walker, not the pedometer. I am the player, not the score. I am the creator, not the metric. And that is enough. That is everything. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, let me know your thoughts below and subscribe for more. Have you ever felt like life just keeps throwing problems at you, one after another, a constant barrage of challenges? We spend so much of our lives just praying for a smooth ride, wishing for an easy path. We see a mountain in front of us and think it's a mistake, something blocking us from where we want to go. But what if that's all wrong? What if the mountain isn't blocking the way? What if the mountain asterisk is asterisk the way? This simple shift in perspective can change everything. The struggle you're facing right now isn't some interruption to your life, it's the very substance of your life. We have to completely change how we see difficulty. Stop seeing it as the villain and start seeing it as your greatest teacher. The philosophy is simple, but it's terrifying to the ego. The obstacle is the way. The difficulty is the teacher. When you accept this, you stop fighting reality. And let's be honest, reality can be chaotic, unfair, and full of walls and storms. The amateur hopes the storm will just pass, but the pro learns to sail in the wind. When you truly get that the obstacle is the way, you stop looking for the easy exit or the shortcut. You look the problem right in the eye and say, this is the raw material for my growth. Think about a fire. If you throw a log on it, the fire doesn't get mad that its space is being invaded. It consumes the wood. It uses the wood to burn brighter, hotter, and stronger. The obstacle becomes its fuel. You have to become that fire. The very thing that you think is threatening to extinguish you is the thing that can make you expand, if you have the stomach to face it. Difficulty is the only thing that tells you the truth. Comfort is a liar. Comfort whispers that you're strong when you're actually weak, that you're smart when you're ignorant. It wraps your ego in a soft, delusional cocoon. But difficulty is a mirror. When you try to lift a weight that's too heavy, gravity doesn't lie. It tells you exactly how strong you are. When you fail to solve a problem, that failure is honest. It shows you where the gaps in your knowledge are. Most people run from this honesty. They hate the teacher because the grading is harsh, but the wise person loves that teacher. They run asterisk towards asterisk the difficulty because they want to know where they stand. They want the data. They want the truth. We live in an age that worships convenience. We have apps for everything, algorithms to decide what we like, and pills to numb our pain. We're designing a world to eliminate every single obstacle. And in doing so, we are designing a world of fragile people. A muscle that never faces resistance will wither away. The human spirit works the exact same way. If you remove the obstacles, you remove the growth. You're not doing yourself any favors by avoiding the hard path. You're crippling your future self. Every time you choose the easy way, you're voting for your own weakness. Every time you choose the obstacle, you're voting for your own power. This perspective shifts you from a victim to a warrior. A victim looks at a problem and asks, why is this happening to me? A warrior looks at the same problem and asks, how can I use this? This is mental alchemy, the ability to turn lead into gold. If you get fired, the victim sees failure. The warrior sees freedom, a chance to reinvent themselves. If you get injured, the victim sees disability. The warrior sees an opportunity to build patience and understand the body. There's no event that is inherently bad. There's only your perception of it and your reaction to it. You control the alchemy. Think about your own life. Reflect on the moments that truly defined you, the times that made you who you are today. Were they the easy days, lounging around without a care? Of course not. They were the days of struggle, the sleepless nights, the times you were broken, and felt completely lost. Those moments were the forge. The intense heat of those experiences melted down your old self and forged something harder, sharper and stronger. You are a product of your difficulties, so why would you fear the next one? The lesson isn't over, because the master isn't finished with you yet. We have to develop an appetite for the difficult. We need to learn to crave the friction. When things are too quiet, too smooth, you should get suspicious. You should ask, where is the growth? You should go out and look for a dragon to slay. Because without the dragon, there is no hero. The difficulty validates your potential. Don't resent your enemy. They're your sparring partner. They reveal your weaknesses and force you to keep your guard up. Be grateful for the difficult boss, the tough economy, the annoying neighbor. They are the weights in your personal gym, and they are working for you even if they don't know it. Now, this mindset requires a surrender of the ego. The ego wants to look good and succeed immediately. Obstacles threaten the ego because they bring the possibility of failure, and you will fail. If the obstacle is worthy, you will fail many times. But failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the engine of success. The difficulty is the teacher, and failure is the lesson plan. You try, you fail, you adjust, and you try again. This loop is the heartbeat of mastery. If you're not failing, you're not learning. If you're not struggling, you're not trying hard enough. Consider the diamond. It's just carbon, the same stuff as soot. What makes it a diamond? Pressure. Relentless, crushing pressure over a vast amount of time. That pressure forces the atoms to rearrange into something brilliant and unbreakable. You are the carbon. The difficulty is the pressure. Don't ask for the pressure to be lifted. Without it, you remain soot. Instead, ask for the strength to endure the pressure until you crystallize. The ancient Stoics called this amor fati, a love of fate, not just accepting what happens, but loving it. Loving the flat tire, the rejection letter, the rainstorm. Why? Because it's reality, and fighting reality is pointless. But more than that, it's raw material. It's something you can work with. You can't work with a fantasy of how things should be. The obstacle is the ultimate reality check. It grabs you and says, here, deal with this. And in dealing with it, you become real. This approach is the ultimate cure for anxiety. Anxiety is the fear of a future negative event. But if you decide that every negative event is actually a positive teacher, the fear vanishes. If you lose your money, you'll learn how to rebuild. If you lose your status, you learn your true worth. If you decide that nothing can hurt you, that everything can only instruct you, then you become invincible. You become free. So, when you face that wall, don't turn around. Don't sit down and cry. Don't wait for someone to save you. Run at the wall. Push against it. Climb it. Dig under it. Study it until you understand it so well you can take it apart brick by brick. But whatever you do, do not turn away. The treasure is inside the dragon's cave. The strength is inside the heavy weight. The wisdom is inside the suffering. My life, my work, my character, they aren't defined by what I achieved when things were easy. They're defined by what I overcame. I am the sum of my obstacles. I am a reflection of the difficulties I've digested, and I'm hungry for more. I don't ask, why me? I say, try me. The obstacle is the way. It's the only way. The path to the mountaintop isn't a straight, easy line. It's a jagged, brutal climb, and that climb is exactly what makes the view from the top so beautiful. If a helicopter dropped you on the summit, you wouldn't appreciate it. You have to earn the altitude. The difficulty is the price you pay for the view, so pay it gladly. Pay it daily. Let the difficulty mold you. Let it chip away everything that's unnecessary. Let it burn off the impurities. Let it stretch you until you think you'll snap, and then stretch you a little more. That's where the expansion happens. In that moment of near breaking, you become something new. So go find your obstacle. And when you find it, smile, because you've just found the way. You've found your path. You've found the next level of yourself. The obstacle is the way. The difficulty is the teacher. And class is now in session. Thanks for watching. I have stepped out of the arena. I have walked away from the Colosseum where the masses fight for scraps of attention and plastic trophies. I do not look to my left, and I do not look to my right. There is no one there. The track is empty. The silence is deafening. And in that silence I have found the only truth that matters. I have no competition. I am only fighting my own ignorance. To believe in competition is to believe that my value is relative. It is to believe that I only matter if I am better than you. That is a slave mentality. It binds my self-worth to the performance of strangers. It makes me a puppet, dancing to the strings of someone else's achievements. I cut the strings. I stand alone. The only metric that interests me is the distance between who I am today and who I am capable of becoming. The world is addicted to the hierarchy. It loves the ranking. It loves the top 10. It loves the who wore it better. It loves the race. But the race is a distraction. The race is designed to keep you looking sideways, so you never look upward. When you are busy trying to beat your neighbor, you are not busy trying to master yourself. You are wasting your energy on defense, on anxiety, on the petty politics of status. I have no energy for that. My energy is finite, and the mission is infinite. I cannot afford to spend a single calorie worrying about your speed. I am consumed by my own velocity. And what is the enemy? If it is not the other runner, what is it? It is ignorance. It is the darkness inside my own skull. Ignorance is not just the lack of facts. Ignorance is the blind spot. Ignorance is the ego that thinks it knows enough. Ignorance is the emotional fragility that crumbles under pressure. Ignorance is the discipline that wavers when the mood shifts. That is the enemy. That is the monster I wake up to fight every single morning. It is a war against entropy. It is a war against the natural tendency of the human mind to drift, to stagnate, and to decay. To win this war, I must be ruthless with myself. I cannot blame the market. I cannot blame the system. I cannot blame the competition. If I fail, it is because I did not know enough. It is because I did not see enough. It is because I was not strong enough. The fault is entirely mine. This radical responsibility is liberating. If I have no competition, I have no excuses. I cannot say, well, he had a head start. It doesn't matter. I am not running to his finish line. I am running to the edge of my own potential. And the edge of my potential is moving away from me as fast as I run toward it. The more I learn, the more I realize how much I do not know. The more I build, the more I see how much is left to build. This is the paradox of mastery. The master does not feel superior. The master feels humble. The master sees the vastness of the craft and realizes he is just a beginner. The competitor feels arrogant because he beat a novice. I do not want the cheap arrogance of the winner. I want the deep humility of the learner. Ignorance is a fog. It covers the path. It hides the pitfalls. Fighting ignorance means turning on the lights. It means reading until my eyes burn. It means practicing until my hands bleed. It means asking the stupid question that destroys my dignity but builds my understanding. Most people would rather look smart than be smart. They would rather pretend they know so they can win the social game. I do not care about the social game. I care about the reality. If I don't know how the engine works, I am vulnerable. If I don't know how the psychology works, I am vulnerable. I am fighting to reduce my vulnerability. I am fighting to secure my sovereignty. A man who knows is a man who cannot be controlled. A man who knows is a man who cannot be outmaneuvered not by a competitor, but by life itself. When you remove competition, you remove envy. Envy is the cancer of the soul. It eats you from the inside out. It turns your eyes into poison. You look at someone else's success and it hurts you. Why? Because you think there is a limited amount of success in the universe, and they took your slice. That is the scarcity mindset. That is the mindset of the ignorant. The universe is infinite. Creativity is infinite. Value is infinite. If I create something beautiful, it does not stop you from creating something beautiful. In fact, it might inspire you. When I kill the idea of competition, I can look at the masters and feel joy. I can study them. I can learn from them. They are not my rivals. They are my libraries. I plunder their knowledge to fight my own ignorance. I am building a monopoly. Not a monopoly of market share, but a monopoly of me. No one can compete with me at being me. No one has my specific combination of experiences, failures, DNA, obsessions, and questions. If I try to be better than you at your game, I am a commodity. I am a copy. But if I double down on my own weirdness, on my own specific curiosity, I become incomparable. I exit the market of commodities and I enter the realm of art. Art has no competition. Does a Van Gogh compete with a Picasso? No, they are different languages. I am creating my own language. I am speaking a dialect that only I can speak. And to speak it fluently, I must study the grammar of my own soul. I must fight the ignorance of who I am. Most people are strangers to themselves. They do not know what they want. They only know what society tells them to want. That is ignorance. That is the deepest ignorance. To fight that, I must sit in silence. I must peel away the layers of conditioning. I must ask the terrifying questions. Who am I when no one is watching? What would I do if I couldn't tell anyone about it? The answers to those questions are the coordinates of my path. Once I find that path, the idea of looking at another runner becomes absurd. They are on a different planet. They are playing a different sport. The fight against ignorance is violent. It requires the destruction of the old self. To learn something new, I must admit that my old understanding was incomplete or wrong. I must kill a part of my ego. This is painful. This is why people stop learning. They stop learning because they want to protect their identity. They want to be the expert. I do not want to be the expert. I want to be the student. The student is fluid. The student is alive. The expert is calcified. The expert is a statue waiting to be toppled. I am the river, constantly moving, constantly reshaping the landscape, constantly finding the lower ground so I can find the ocean. My work is the physical evidence of this fight. When you look at what I build, you are looking at the debris of my battle with stupidity. You are looking at the problems I solved. You are looking at the confusion I clarified. Every sentence I write, every product I design, every movement I make is a victory over the chaos. I am bringing order to my internal world and expressing it in the external world. If the work is good, it is because I won the fight that day. If the work is bad, it is because ignorance won. It is because I was lazy. It is because I didn't dig deep enough. It has nothing to do with the other guy. The other guy is irrelevant. Let us talk about the noise. The world is a screaming machine. It screams, look at me. It screams, buy this. It screams, be afraid. This noise is the soundtrack of ignorance. It keeps you shallow. It keeps you reactive. To fight ignorance, I must cultivate depth. I must cultivate the ability to focus on one thing for a long time. Deep work is the weapon. In the depths, there is no competition. The crowds are all swimming on the surface, splashing around, making a mess. Down deep, the water is calm. Down deep, the pressure is high. Down deep, only the serious survive. I dive, I hold my breath. I go where the pressure crushes the weak. In that pressure I find the diamonds of insight. This is a lonely philosophy. It means you cannot share your anxiety with the herd. You cannot gossip about the rivals. You cannot bond over the shared hatred of the other team. You have no team. You have no league. You are a Ronin. You are a knight without a lord, wandering the wasteland of potential. But in this loneliness, there is power. There is the power of total self-reliance. If I succeed, I know who did it. If I fail, I know who did it. There is no diffusion of responsibility. The mirror is clean. The reflection is sharp. I am not driven by the fear of losing. I am driven by the terror of never knowing what I was capable of. Imagine dying with the music still inside you. Imagine dying with the potential locked in the box because you were too busy looking at the scoreboard to find the key. That is the ultimate tragedy. I refuse that ending. I want to empty the tank. I want to die exhausted. I want to die knowing that I squeezed every drop of intelligence, every drop of creativity, every drop of will out of this vessel. To do that, I must be obsessed with the extraction process. I must be obsessed with the mining of my own spirit. Competition implies a finish line. It implies that once you win the trophy, you are done. You can sit down, you can get fat, you can stop. But fighting ignorance has no finish line. The universe of knowledge is expanding faster than I can travel. This ensures that I will never be bored. It ensures that I will never be finished. I am playing an infinite game. I am not trying to win the quarter. I am trying to win the life. And the only way to win the life is to keep playing, to keep learning, to keep evolving. When I say I have no competition, I am not saying I am the best. I am saying I am the only one. There is a difference. Best is comparative, only is absolute. I am the only one living my life. I am the only one facing my demons. I am the only one who can dream my dreams. Therefore, the scorecard is internal. Did I do what I said I would do? Did I push past the resistance? Did I learn the lesson? If the answer is yes, I won. If the answer is no, I lost. And the millions of other people running around screaming have nothing to do with it. This mindset makes you dangerous to the establishment. The establishment relies on your need for validation. It relies on your need to be ranked. It controls you by giving you a grade, a salary band, a title. When you stop caring about their rank, you become ungovernable. You become a free radical. You define your own value. You set your own price. You build your own kingdom. You stop asking for permission to exist. You exist by the authority of your own competence. And that competence comes from the fight against ignorance. I trade the instant gratification of status for the long-term compounding of wisdom. Status is a drug. It feels good for a moment, but it wears off, and you need a higher dose. Wisdom is a muscle. It grows, it stays. It serves you when you are old. It serves you when you are alone. I am investing in the asset that cannot be devalued by inflation or market crashes. I am investing in my own mind. And the cost of admission to this investment is the admission that I am ignorant. I have to admit it every day. I don't know. Those are the three most powerful words in the English language. They are the keys to the library. Do not mistake this for arrogance. The man who says I have no competition sounds arrogant to the weak, but in reality it is the ultimate expression of focus. The lion does not compete with the sheep. The eagle does not compete with the crow. They function in different verticals. I am finding my vertical. I am finding the altitude where I can fly without bumping into the wings of the mediocre. The air is thin up here. It is cold. It is hard to breathe. Good. That means I am in the right place. That means I have left the crowd behind. Every obstacle I face is a test of my knowledge. If I cannot solve the problem, it is not because the problem is unfair. It is because I am ignorant of the solution. The universe is a giant puzzle. It does not care if I solve it. It sits there, indifferent. It is up to me to find the key. The key is never force. The key is always understanding. If I have to force it, I don't understand it yet. So I go back to the drawing board. I go back to the books. I go back to the silence. I fight the urge to quit. I fight the urge to blame. I fight the ignorance. I am sculpting a statue. The statue is hidden inside the marble block of my potential. The competition is not the other sculptors. The competition is the excess marble. The competition is the resistance of the stone. I must chip away everything that is not the truth. I must chip away the fear, the doubt, the laziness, the distraction. If I look at the other sculptors, I might hit my own thumb. I might make a mistake on my own stone. I keep my eyes on my chisel. I keep my eyes on my own hands. I respect the stone. There is a peace in this total ownership. I own my wins and I own my losses. When I fail, I do not look around for a scapegoat. I look in the mirror. I say, you didn't know enough. Go learn. And when I succeed, I do not look around for applause. I look in the... We live in a showroom culture, obsessed with the big reveal. We re-addicted to the moment the curtain drops and the finished product is presented to a screaming crowd. We've been taught to believe that a life's value is measured by trophies on a shelf, the rank on a badge, and the noise of the ovation. But this is a deception. It's a glittering lie that keeps us shallow, anxious, and perpetually unsatisfied. The truth, the deep, ancient, quiet truth, is found by flipping this script. To find peace and true power, we have to choose the grinding reality over the shiny illusion. We must adopt a new trinity for the soul: process over outcome, skill over status, knowledge over applause. Let's start with process over outcome. The outcome is a ghost. It doesn't exist yet. It's a fantasy. To obsess over it is to live in a hallucination. You can't control the outcome. You can do everything right: prepare, fight, struggle, and still lose. The market can crash. A judge can be biased. The weather can turn. If your self-worth is tied to the outcome, you are gambling your soul on variables you don't own. But the process is yours. It's the soil under your fingernails, the cold morning air, the repetition of the drill, the silence of study. The process is the only reality you have. When you prioritize the process, you become invincible to failure. If the outcome is bad but your process was good, you can sleep at night. You know you honored the craft. The outcome is just data, telling you if the process needs adjustment. It doesn't define you. The amateur creates for the outcome. He wants the applause, the money. And because he wants it so badly, he takes shortcuts. He cheats the process and builds a hollow structure. It might look good from the outside, but it's rotting from within. The professional honors the process. He treats the daily work as a sacred ritual. He understands the real prize isn't the gold medal. It's the person he becomes while training for it. The trophy gathers dust. The character forged in the fire lasts forever. This means we must fall in love with boredom. The process is often monotonous and unsexy. This is where most people quit. The real work begins when the excitement dies. It's the ability to show up when you don't feel like it. Process over outcome means finding the beauty in the grind. Next, consider skill over status. Status is a costume, a rented tuxedo. It's the title on a business card. CEO, director, president. These are social constructs. They're not real. You can strip a person of their status in a second. Fire them, cancel them, ignore them. And if their identity is built on status, they are destroyed. But skill is the muscle under the skin. It's the wiring of the brain, the callus on the hand. Skill is the ability to manipulate reality to solve a problem. Status begs for respect. Skill commands it. When the ship is sinking, no one cares who has the highest rank. They care who knows how to fix the engine. In a crisis, status evaporates and skill becomes the only currency. We live in a world of inflated status and atrophied skill. We have people with big titles who can't do anything. They are paper tigers, living in constant fear of being exposed. To choose skill over status is to choose the path of the humble student. It means you're willing to look stupid in order to learn. The status seeker is terrified of looking stupid. He pretends to know everything. The skill seeker asks the dumb question. He admits ignorance. He doesn't care how he looks. He cares about what he can do. In the long run, the man who protects his image rots, while the man who builds his skill rises. Status is a lagging indicator of past glory. Skill is a leading indicator of future victory. And finally, knowledge over applause. Applause is a drug. It gives you a sudden spike of validation. But like any drug, it wears off. Then you need more. You become a slave to the audience, changing your work to please them. You lose your voice and become an echo. You become a performer, not a creator. Knowledge, however, requires silence. You can't learn while you're performing. The library is quiet for a reason. Knowledge is the intimate relationship between your mind and the truth. It doesn't need an audience. If you solve a complex equation in an empty room, the truth of that solution is just as powerful. The applause adds nothing to it. In fact, applause often obscures the truth. We are shifting from a civilization of thinkers to a civilization of performers. Everyone wants to be seen, but who wants to know? Who wants to understand? The pursuit of knowledge is a lonely road. It requires deep work, reading hard books, wrestling with challenging ideas, and turning off the phone to sit with your own thoughts. The applause seeker can't do this. The silence terrifies him, but the knowledge seeker welcomes it. In the silence, they find a signal amidst the noise. So, why are we so attached to outcomes? Because we think, when I get that job, then I'll be happy. We outsource our self-esteem to future events. But even if you get the outcome, the happiness is fleeting. It's called the hedonic treadmill. You run and run, get the prize, feel good for a moment, and then you're back where you started, needing a new outcome. Process over outcome is the act of deciding. I am worthy because I am trying, not I am worthy because I won. This shift releases immense energy. When you're not paralyzed by fear of the result, you can flow, experiment, and play. The paradox is that people who detach from the outcome often achieve the best outcomes because they are loose, present, and not choking on their own expectations. This philosophy requires a rewiring of your dopamine receptors. You have to detox from the cheap hits of validation. You have to learn to get your satisfaction from the click of a puzzle piece falling into place, the smoothness of a perfect line of code, the clarity of a well-written sentence. These are quiet, subtle, deep pleasures. They nourish the soul in a way that likes and retweets never can. You have to become a connoisseur of your own evolution. Imagine a builder. The outcome-focused builder rushes the foundation and uses cheap wood to get paid and take a picture. The house looks good at the ribbon cutting, but 10 years later it cracks and leaks. Now, imagine the process-focused builder. He cares about the pour of the cement, the angle of the joist. He takes longer, but 50 years later, his house still stands, weathering every storm. This is your life. Are you building a stage set, or are you building a fortress? This Trinity process skill knowledge is the architecture of a sovereign life. When you build your life on these pillars, you become anti-fragile. The world can change, the economy can collapse, trends can shift, but you will remain standing. You have the process to rebuild, the skill to adapt, and the knowledge to navigate. You are not a leaf blowing in the wind of public opinion. You are the tree. You have roots. As you move forward, you'll feel the pull of the old way. You'll feel jealousy when someone less skilled gets more status. You'll feel disappointment when a good process yields a bad outcome. You'll feel lonely when your knowledge is met with silence. This is normal. It's the price of admission to a higher level of existence. Don't waver. Stay on the path. Because in the end, when the lights go out and the audience leaves, you're left with yourself. If you're built for the audience, you're left with an empty theater. But if you're built for the process, for skill, and for knowledge, you are never alone. You're in the company of your own competence, filled with the richness of your own understanding. You have a library in your mind and a workshop in your hands. You are complete. You are not defined by what the world thinks of you. You are defined by the work you do when no one is looking, the unseen hours, the unpraised efforts, the corrected mistakes. That is where the substance is. So let them have the outcome, the status, the applause. You take the work, you take the craft, you take the truth. It seems like a bad trade to the fool, but to the wise it's the only trade worth making, because the former is dust in the wind, but the latter is the mountain that creates the wind. Be the mountain, be the solid thing in a world of vapor. Process, skill, knowledge, live it, be it. This is the way that leads to a place worth going. The journey is the destination. The capability is the rank. The understanding is the ovation. And that is everything. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content like this. There's a weight we carry that doesn't belong to us. It's the weight of tomorrow. It's the crushing burden of the what if. We spend our days not living in the present, but colonizing the future with our anxieties. We try to map out the terrain of next year, next decade, next lifetime. We obsess over the destination until we forget how to walk. We believe, in our arrogance, that if we worry enough, if we plan enough, if we stress enough, we can control the uncontrollable. But this is a lie. The future is a ghost. It's a fog that no headlight can penetrate. To try to know the future is to wrestle with a phantom. You will exhaust yourself, and you will win nothing. Today I put down that weight. Today I make a declaration of spiritual independence. I surrender the need to know the future. I trust the effort of today. This surrender is not an act of weakness. It's the ultimate act of strategy. When I'm constantly looking at the horizon, I trip over the stone right in front of me. When my mind is split between the now and the then, I am diluted. I am half a person. My energy is leaking into a time that does not exist. By surrendering the need to know, I seal the leak. I gather all my scattered energy and I focus it like a laser beam on the only thing that is real. This moment, this task, this breath, this repetition. The future is built by the bricks I lay today. If I lay this brick crooked because I'm worrying about the roof, the house will fall. If I lay this brick perfectly because I am fully present, the roof takes care of itself. We live in a society that is addicted to prediction. We watch the news, we watch the markets, we watch the polls. We are desperate for certainty. We want a guarantee. We want to sign a contract with the universe that says, if I do X, I will get Y. But the universe does not sign contracts. The universe is chaotic. The universe is wild. To demand certainty is to demand that the ocean stop having waves. It's a futile tantrum. I stop the tantrum. I accept the waves. I accept that I cannot control the ocean, but I can control the boat. The boat is my effort. The boat is my discipline. The boat is my attitude. I cannot steer the wind, but I can adjust my sails, and that is enough. Trusting the effort of today requires a shift in identity. I am no longer the fortune teller. I am the farmer. The farmer doesn't dig up the seed every morning to see if it has become a tree that would kill the seed. The farmer plants. The farmer waters. The farmer protects the soil. And then, the farmer trusts. He trusts the seasons. He trusts the biology of the seed. He trusts the invisible work happening underground. My effort is the water. My consistency is the sun. I do not need to see the fruit today to know that the fruit is coming. I have faith in the law of cause and effect. If the cause is good, the effect is inevitable. I focus entirely on the cause. The need to know the future is rooted in fear. We are afraid that if we don't see the path, we are lost. But consider the driver in the fog. He can only see 10 feet in front of him, but he can drive the entire journey, hundreds of miles, by just seeing those 10 feet. He doesn't need to see the destination to get there. He just needs to see the next section of the road. I surrender the need to see the map. I only need to see the next step. If I take the next step with courage and precision, the step after that will reveal itself. The path unfolds as I walk it. It does not exist before I walk it. I am the creator of the path, not just the traveler. This philosophy cures the paralysis of analysis. How many dreams die because we are trying to figure out steps 50 through 100 before we have taken step 1? We freeze because the mountain looks too high. We look at the summit and we feel small. I stop looking at the summit. I look at my boots. I look at the ground. Can I take one step? Yes, then I take it. And then I take another. By trusting the effort of today, I break the impossible journey down into possible days. A lifetime of greatness is just a collection of great days strung together. A great day is just a collection of focused hours. I master the hour, and I master the life. I am trading anxiety for agency. Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. It is the spinning mind trying to calculate infinite variables. Agency is the grounding force of action. When I am working, I am not worrying. Action is the antidote to despair. When I trust the effort, I enter a state of flow. The noise of the world fades away. The nagging voice of doubt is silenced by the sound of the hammer hitting the nail. There is a peace in the grind. There is a sanctuary in the sweat. I hide in the work, not to escape reality but to construct reality. The effort of today is the only thing that belongs to me. The past is a memory. It is dead. The future is a fantasy. It is unborn. The present is the only territory I can occupy. If I am not here, I am nowhere. By surrendering the future, I fully inhabit my life. I taste the food. I hear the music. I feel the pain. I experience the joy. I am not rushing through this moment to get to the better moment later. There is no better moment. There is only this moment. If I cannot find meaning and quality here, I will not find it there. The there I am chasing is just another here waiting to happen. If I don't know how to be here, I will never arrive. Trusting the effort means falling in love with the boredom of consistency. The grand future we imagine is made of tiny, boring, unsexy actions. It is the push-up, the sentence, the phone call, the saved dollar. These things do not look like a dream life when you are doing them. They look mundane, but they are the atoms of the dream. The person who needs the constant thrill of the future cannot survive the boredom of the present. They quit when the adrenaline fades. I do not need adrenaline. I have discipline. I have trust. I know that the water cuts through the rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence. I am the water. When I surrender the need to know the outcome, I become brave. Why are we afraid to try? Because we are afraid it won't work out. We are afraid of the future pain of failure. But if I don't care about the prediction, if I only care about the execution, then I am free to try. I am free to fail. Failure is just information. It is the effort of today telling me to adjust the effort of tomorrow. It is not a judgment on my soul. It is data for my hands. This makes me dangerous. A man who is not attached to the outcome is unstoppable, because you cannot threaten him with loss. He has already let go. He is only playing for the love of the game. I trust the effort because effort compounds. It is the eighth wonder of the world. A small effort, repeated daily, grows exponentially. The mind cannot comprehend exponential growth. It thinks linearly. We think 1 + 1 is 2, but in the realm of habit, 1 + 1 + time is 100. We quit because we don't see the curve immediately. We work for a week and see no change, so we say, it's not working. It is working, it is charging, it is building potential energy. I trust the invisible accumulation. I trust that every rep, every page, every kindness is being stored in a vault, and one day, the vault will open. I don't need to know when, I just need to keep filling it. This is a rejection of the lottery mindset. The world wants the quick fix, the hack, the secret, the overnight success. That is the mindset of the gambler. The gambler needs to know the future. He needs to know the winning number. I am not a gambler. I am a builder. The builder does not gamble on the house. He builds the house. He ensures the foundation is deep. He ensures the walls are straight. He relies on physics, not luck. I trust the effort means I rely on the physics of hard work. I do not need luck to find me. I am building a landing pad for luck. What if the future is bad? This is the whisper of fear. What if I work hard and it all falls apart? It might. That is the truth. Empires fall, markets crash, bodies break. But if I have spent my days in honest effort, I will be strong enough to handle the collapse. The effort of today builds the character of tomorrow. And character is the only survival kit that works in every storm. If I lose everything I've built, I still have the man who built it. I can build again. I can rise again. The effort did not just build the external success, it built the internal resilience. Therefore, no effort is ever wasted. Even if the product is destroyed, the producer has been upgraded. I surrender the timeline. The timeline is a prison. I must be married by 30. I must be a millionaire by 40. Who wrote these rules? They are arbitrary benchmarks that create misery. When we miss the timeline, we feel like failures. I burn the timeline. I have my own rhythm. Nature does not rush. The oak tree does not stress about how tall it is compared to the pine tree. It just grows. It trusts the soil. It trusts the rain. I trust my own pace. Fast or slow, it does not matter. As long as I am moving, as long as the effort is true. This surrender brings silence to the mind. The chatter of what if ceases. The noise of speculation dies down. In that silence I can hear my intuition. I can hear the subtle guidance of my own wisdom. I know what to do today. I don't know what to do next year. but I know I need to drink water. I need to write this page. I need to be kind to my neighbor. That is enough guidance. The light is shining on the immediate task. I do not need a spotlight on the horizon. I need a lantern for my feet. The future is a distraction from the masterpiece of the present. We treat today like a waiting room. We are just sitting here, reading old magazines, waiting for our real life to begin. This is a tragedy. This is the real life. The struggle is the life. The work is the life. The sweat is the life. The sweat is the life. To wish away the effort is to wish away the time we have. I embrace the friction. I embrace the difficulty. I do not want to fast forward. I want to feel the texture of the struggle. That is where the meaning lives. I trust the effort because it is the ultimate variable I control. I cannot control the economy. I cannot control the algorithms. I cannot control other people's opinions. I cannot control my genetics. But I can control how hard I try. I can control my focus. I can control my diligence. By anchoring my peace in the one thing I control, I become unshakable. If I anchor my peace in the stock market, I am a volatile wreck. If I anchor it in my effort, I am a steady rock. The market moves, the rock stays. Surrendering the future creates a vacuum of expectation, which allows for surprise. When you have a rigid picture of how your life must look, you are blind to the beautiful opportunities that don't fit that picture. You might be working towards a specific door, but the universe opens a window. If you are obsessed with the door, you miss the window. I keep my eyes open. I trust the effort to move me forward, but I surrender the specific destination. I am open to a future that is better than the one I can imagine. My imagination is limited by my past. The future is unlimited. I let the effort carry me into the unlimited. I trust the effort of today is a mantra of self-respect. It says, I am capable. It says, I am enough. When I look in the mirror at the end of the day, I do not ask, did I conquer the world? I ask, did I give my best? If the answer is yes, I sleep the sleep of the just. I have won the day. And a life is just a series of days, won or lost. I do not need the applause of the world to know I did well. I know the weight of the stone I lifted. The effort is its own witness. This philosophy protects me from burnout. Burnout comes from the gap between expectation and reality. We work hard, expecting a result, and when the result doesn't come, we burn out. But if the work is the reward, if the effort is the point, then burnout is impossible. I am nourished by the act of doing. I am not working for the weekend. I am working because the work expresses who I am. I am a machine of creation. To stop creating is to rust. I keep the gears turning, not for the output, but for the health of the machine. Think of the stonecutter hitting the rock. He hits it 99 times and there is not even a crack. The observer thinks he is failing. The observer thinks the future is bleak, but the stonecutter trusts the effort. He hits it the 100th time, and the rock splits in two. It was not the last blow that did it. It was the 99 before it. I am currently in the 99 blows. I see no crack, but I know the physics of the stone. I know the split is coming. I do not stop swinging. I trust the accumulation of force. This is the antidote to the when-then trap. When I have $1 million, then I will be secure. When I lose 20 pounds, then I will be confident. No, you are secure now. The world has gone quiet. The noise of the day has retreated into the shadows. The frantic energy of the crowd has dissipated, replaced by the heavy rhythmic breathing of the slumbering masses. They are asleep. They are wrapped in the warm blankets of comfort, drifting in the soft currents of their dreams. They are dreaming of the things they wish they had. They are dreaming of a life they will never build. They are escaping the harshness of reality for the soothing illusion of the night. And I am standing in the dark. I am standing in the silence. I am not sleeping. I am not escaping. I am awake. I am learning. Let them sleep. This isn't a command of contempt. It's a command of permission. I give the world permission to be unconscious. I give the average man permission to rest his head and turn off his brain. I understand the seduction of sleep. Sleep is the ultimate anesthesia. It numbs the pain of unfulfilled potential. It silences the nagging voice of mediocrity. In dreams, they are kings. In dreams, they are heroes. In dreams, they have already won. Why would they want to wake up? Waking up is painful. Waking up means facing the mirror. It means realizing that the dream is a lie. So, let them sleep. Let them protect their fragile egos with a shield of unconsciousness. I don't need that shield. I have dropped the shield. I have chosen the sword. To be awake when the world sleeps is a rebellious act. It is a declaration of war against the status quo. The status quo demands that you follow the herd. The herd grazes during the day and sleeps at night. The herd moves together, thinks together, and rests together. By staying awake, by lighting the lamp while others snuff theirs out, I am separating myself from the species. I am evolving into something else. I'm becoming a creature of the night, a creature of solitude, a creature of focus. The biology of the herd dictates that safety is in numbers. The philosophy of the awakened dictates that safety is in competence, and I am using the cover of darkness to build my competence. Let them dream. Dreams are cheap. Anyone can dream. A child can dream. A beggar can dream. A failure can dream. The dream is the opiate of the masses. It gives them the dopamine hit of success without the sweat of execution. They talk about their dreams over drinks. They post about their dreams on screens. They manifest their dreams in their journals. But they do not build their dreams. They sleep on them. I do not dream. I construct. I engineer. While they are hallucinating a castle, I am laying the bricks for a fortress. My reality is not a vision. It is a blueprint. And tonight, while they float in the ether of possibility, I am grounding myself in the concrete of reality. I am awake because I am terrified of running out of time. They think they have forever. They live as if life is a rehearsal. They think they can sleep now and build later. They think the future is a guarantee. I know the truth. I know that time is a thief that never stops stealing. Every second I spend unconscious is a second I can never buy back. Sleep is the interest we pay on the debt of death. I want to minimize that payment. I want to squeeze every last drop of life out of the towel. I am greedy for knowledge. I am greedy for growth. I cannot afford the luxury of 8 hours of oblivion when there is so much ignorance left in my mind to conquer. I am learning. This is the core of my existence. I'm not just staying up to watch the moon. I'm staying up to download the universe. Learning is the process of rewriting the code of my mind. It is a violent act. To learn, I must destroy what I thought I knew. I must admit that I was wrong. I must admit that I am small. The sleeper cannot do this. The sleeper wants to be right. The sleeper wants to be comfortable in his existing beliefs. I am comfortable with being wrong, as long as it leads me to what is right. I am devouring books. I am dissecting ideas. I am analyzing patterns. I am sharpening the blade of my intellect on the stone of discipline. The silence of the night is my library. During the day, the world screams. It screams with distractions, with demands, with petty dramas and trivial politics. You cannot learn in a riot. You can only react. But at night, the riot disperses. The air becomes clear. The signal-to-noise ratio shifts in my favor. In this silence I can hear the thoughts of the great masters. I can hear the logic of the universe. I can hear the beating of my own heart. I am using this silence to build a cathedral of understanding inside my skull. While they sleep in the chaos of their subconscious, I am bringing order to my consciousness. There is a compounding interest to this wakefulness. Every night I steal from the darkness is an advantage gained. If I study 1 hour while you sleep, I am 1 hour ahead. It seems insignificant. But multiply that by a year. Multiply that by a decade. The gap becomes an ocean. Eventually I will be speaking a language you cannot understand. I will be operating at a velocity you cannot comprehend. You will look at me and call me a genius. You will call me lucky. You will say I was gifted. You will not see the thousands of nights I sat alone, eyes burning, fighting the urge to close them, forcing myself to absorb one more page, one more concept, one more skill. You will not see the sacrifice. You will only see the result, and I will let you believe it was magic. I will let you sleep in your delusion. The act of learning is an act of self-defense. The world is becoming more complex, more volatile, more ruthless. To be ignorant is to be defenseless. To be asleep is to be a victim waiting to happen. The sleepers are relying on the system to save them. They are relying on their bosses, their governments, their partners. They are outsourcing their survival. I reclaim my survival. I am building an arsenal of skills. I am fortifying my mind against the chaos. When the storm comes, and it always comes, the sleepers will wake up in a panic. They will be unprepared. They will drown. I will be awake. I will be ready. I will have the map. I will have the boat. I will have the compass. Because I spent the night studying navigation while they were dreaming of smooth seas, I am awake. This is a spiritual stance. It means I am present. I am not living in the past, regretting what is gone. I am not living in the future, worrying about what might be. I am here, now, in the raw texture of the moment. The sleeper uses sleep to escape the present. They hate the present because the present is hard. I love the hard. I embrace the friction. I am awake to the pain, awake to the struggle, awake to the beauty of the grind. I feel the fatigue in my eyes, and I welcome it. It is the feeling of effort. It is the feeling of being alive. I would rather be exhausted and aware than rested and oblivious. Let them have their parties. Let them have their happy hours. Let them have their binge-watching marathons. That is their lullaby. That is how they rock themselves to sleep. They are sedating themselves against the emptiness of their purpose. I don't need sedation. I need stimulation. I need the electric shock of a new idea. I need the cold water of a hard truth. My entertainment is my evolution. My leisure is my learning. I have redefined fun. Fun is not escaping my life. Fun is upgrading my life. While they are laughing at a screen, I am rewriting the script of my destiny. There is a loneliness to this path, and I accept it. You cannot bring the crowd with you to the mountaintop. The air is too thin. The climb is too steep. The crowd wants to sleep at base camp. They want to tell stories about the mountain, but they don't want to climb it. If I want to climb, I must leave them behind. I must be willing to walk alone in the dark. I must be willing to be misunderstood. They will say I am obsessed. They will say I am a workaholic. They will say I have no balance. Let them talk. Their words are the mumbling of sleepwalkers. I do not take directions from people who are lost in a dream. I follow the stars of my own ambition. I am learning to master my own biology. My body wants to sleep. My genes want me to conserve energy. My evolution wants me to be comfortable. I am overruling my evolution. I am imposing the tyranny of my will over the democracy of my cells. I am awake as a command I give to my physiology. I am telling my body that the mission is more important than the metabolism. This discipline bleeds into everything else. If I can control my eyelids, I can control my emotions. I can control my impulses. I can control my fear. The night is the gymnasium of the will. Every time I refuse to close my eyes, I am doing another repetition. I am getting stronger. And what am I learning? I am learning how the world actually works, not how they say it works in school. I am learning the hidden mechanics of power, of money, of psychology, of human nature. The sleepers are fed a sanitized version of reality. They are fed the fairy tale. I am reading the technical manual. I want to know where the levers are. I want to know who is pulling the strings. Knowledge is not just power. Knowledge is vision. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. In the land of the sleepers, the awake man is a god. I am striving for that divinity of perception. I surrender the need for their validation. Why would I care about the applause of people who are dreaming? Their applause is fake. Their criticism is fake. It is all part of their theater. I am operating in the real world. In the real world, results are the only validation. Did I learn the skill? Did I build the asset? Did I solve the problem? The scoreboard is binary. It is cold. It is honest. I prefer the cold honesty of the night to the warm hypocrisy of the day. Let them sleep, because they need the rest. They are exhausted from pretending. It is tiring to wear a mask all day. It is tiring to pretend you are happy, pretend you are successful, pretend you know what you are doing. No wonder they crash. No wonder they need to escape. I am not pretending. I am becoming. I don't need to hide from myself, so I don't need to hide and sleep. I can sit with myself in the silence and look at my flaws without flinching. I can look at my ignorance without shame. I see the ignorance as a vacancy sign. It means there is room for more knowledge. It is an invitation to work. The night puts everything into perspective. Under the vastness of the darkness, my problems seem small, but my potential seems infinite. The distractions of the day, the traffic, the emails, the gossip fade into nothingness. What remains is the core. What remains is the mission. I can see the chessboard clearly. I can plan 5 moves ahead. While they are reacting to the pawn in front of them, I am targeting the king. Strategic thinking requires solitude. It requires the absence of interference. I am using the night to strategize the conquest of my life. I am awake because I refuse to be a spectator in my own life. The sleeper is a spectator. He watches the movie of his life play out behind his eyelids. He has no control. I am the director. I am the actor. I am the writer. I am gripping the pen so hard my knuckles are white. I am writing the script in real time. I am editing the tragedy into a triumph. I cannot write if I am asleep. I need consciousness to create. I am creating myself. So, look at the sleeping world with compassion, but not with envy. Do not envy their rest. Their rest is the stagnation of the pond. Envy the river. The river never sleeps. The river cuts through the canyon by moving day and night. Be the river. Be relentless. Be fluid. Be awake. Let them sleep. The world needs dreamers, I suppose. But the world is built by the awake. The world is saved by the awake. The world is led by the awake. I have made my choice. I have set my alarm. I have opened my eyes. I am here. I am awake. I am learning. And I will not stop until the work is done. I was born into a house I did not build. For years I wandered through its corridors, believing the walls were stone and the layout was destiny. I thought my fears and limitations were the load-bearing pillars of my existence. I was just a tenant in my own mind, paying rent to biology and society. But today, I tear up that lease. Today, I realize the terrifying and liberating truth. I am not the tenant. I am the architect. This is the moment of true birth. Before this, I was a product, a collection of other people's opinions and expectations. But an architect doesn't absorb. An architect designs. They impose will upon chaos. To accept this role is to accept total responsibility. If the roof leaks, it's my fault. There's no landlord to call. Most people live in mental shacks, built by accident from bricks of prejudice and planks of insecurity. They're miserable, asking, why is my life like this? It's because they let the wind design it. I refuse to live in a shack. I am building a cathedral. The first step is demolition. I must destroy the old to build the new. With the sledgehammer of introspection, I walk through the rooms of my mind. Who put this chair of self-doubt here? Who hung this painting of failure? I am smashing the rotten wood of old habits and tearing down the drywall of limiting beliefs. It hurts. We grow attached to our misery because it's familiar. But the architect is ruthless. If it doesn't serve the future, it must go. Once the site is cleared, I look at the blueprint, my vision. Who do I want to be? I want my mind to run on logic, not emotion, on patience, not impulse, on courage, not fear. I am drawing the lines, calculating the angles. A life without a plan is a life of reaction. I am done reacting. I am creating. Now, I choose my materials. A mind is built of information, thoughts, and conversations. Every single thing I let into my eyes and ears is a brick. If I consume garbage, I build my mind from garbage. I am becoming a snob about my materials. I only want the granite of philosophy, the steel of science, the hardwood of history. I am curating my inputs. standing guard at the door of my mind. If a thought isn't useful, true or beautiful, it doesn't get in. The architect understands physics. Entropy is the gravity of the mind. It wants to drift into laziness and negativity. It takes energy to keep the structure standing. I must build load-bearing walls of discipline. Discipline is the steel beam that holds up the roof when the weight of the world comes crashing down. Every morning when I do the hard thing, I add a rivet. When I keep a promise to myself, I weld a joint. I am engineering a structure that can withstand any storm. I'm paying attention to the windows, my perception. If the glass is distorted, the world looks ugly and hostile. But the ugliness is in the glass, not the world. I am replacing that cheap glass with the clear, polished lens of gratitude and opportunity. When I look through these new windows, I see a different world. I see chances where I used to see threats, and lessons where I used to see punishment. The view didn't change. I changed the window. I am also designing the acoustics of my mind. The old house was filled with the constant noise of criticism. You're not good enough. I'm soundproofing the walls, dampening the ego's noise, and tuning the frequency to calm competence. I am training my inner voice to speak like a coach, not a heckler. Focus. Breathe. You can handle this. I am the DJ of my own thoughts. I choose the track and control the volume. A building needs a foundation. You can't build a skyscraper on a swamp. My foundation is my values: truth, honor, resilience, compassion. These are the stones in my bedrock. No one sees them, but everything rests on them. If I compromise my values, I crack my foundation, and the whole structure will eventually fall. I protect my foundation at all costs, reinforcing it daily with my actions. My mind also needs ventilation. A mind without fresh air becomes stale and toxic. Meditation is a vent. Exercise is a vent. Solitude is a vent. These systems flush out mental toxins and bring in the oxygen of clarity. I make time for the airflow, respecting the mind's need to exhale. I am the architect of my memory. The old library in my mind was filled with books of my failures. I am not erasing the past, but I am reshelving it. I am putting the memories of my strength on display and framing the moments of my courage. I am curating the museum of my history to empower my future. I am not a victim of my past. I am its editor. This process is a lifetime contract. A building needs constant maintenance. Every day, weeds of distraction try to grow. I must pull them. Every day, dust settles on the lens of my ambition. I must wipe it. The architect never puts his tools down. He is always checking for weaknesses, always looking to improve the design. The expansion is infinite. I am careful about who I invite into my house. In the past, I left the front door open, and anyone could walk in with their muddy boots. No more. Admission is by invitation only. If you want to be in my mind, you must bring a gift: wisdom, humor, love, or challenge. If you bring drama, you stay on the porch. The architect protects the sanctity of the interior space. I am designing a mind that is antifragile. A fragile house breaks under stress. A robust house survives stress, but an antifragile house gets stronger. I want a mind that feeds on difficulty, so I stress test the building myself. I take the cold shower. I have the hard conversation. I lift the heavy weight. I shake the foundation on purpose, so that when the real earthquake comes, I am ready. The architect must be a visionary. He must see what does not yet exist. The world sees a vacant lot. I see a skyscraper. I hold that vision and trust the blueprint. I know that if I keep laying bricks, the skyscraper will emerge. It is inevitable. Rome wasn't built in a day, and a great mind is not built in a weekend. This house I am building is not for me alone. It is a legacy. A well-built mind creates a well-built community. I want to leave a legacy of strength, a prototype for others to see what can be built from chaos. I surrender victimhood. The victim says, the roof is leaking because it's raining. The architect says, the roof is leaking because I need to fix it. This is the shift from powerlessness to power. I am standing in the center of the construction site. It's messy, it's noisy, it's far from finished. But I smile, because I have the blueprints in my hand. I smile because every swing of the hammer is an act of self. I am not discovering myself. I am creating myself. My mind is my kingdom, and I am sitting on the throne. I decree this place shall be a sanctuary of strength, a fortress of wisdom, a garden of peace. This is my life's work. To take the raw material of consciousness and shape it into a masterpiece. So pick up your tools. The sun is up. The site is open. There is work to do. Look at the plan and build. Build as if your life depends on it, because it does. What's the one word that haunts all of us? The one that can stop a dream in its tracks before it even begins. That word is failure. From the day we're born, we're taught to see failure as a mark of shame, a final verdict on our worth. We hide our failures. We bury them. We lie about them. We're terrified that if the world sees our failures, it will see us as broken. But what if I told you that's a complete lie, a fundamental error in how we're programmed? Today, I'm rewriting that code. I'm changing the definition. For me, failure doesn't exist. There's only feedback. There's only signal. There's only data. My mantra, my shield, and my sword is this: every failure is just information, and I need more information. When you truly adopt this philosophy, the emotional weight of the world just evaporates. The heavy cloak of shame drops to the floor. You're no longer a defendant in the trial of life, waiting for a verdict. You become a scientist in the laboratory of existence. Think about it. A scientist doesn't cry when a chemical reaction doesn't turn blue. They don't feel worthless when their hypothesis is proven wrong. They just note the result. They write it down. They say, interesting. That path leads to a dead end. Now I know. The failure wasn't a loss. It was a gain. It was the acquisition of a truth. This way does not work. That's a valuable piece of gold, and I am a collector of this gold. I need more information. This isn't just a phrase. It's a hunger, a voracious appetite for reality. You see, success often hides the truth. When you succeed, you don't always know why. Was it skill? Was it timing? Was it luck? Success can make you complacent. It can make you think you're smarter than you are. But failure, failure is brutally honest. Failure is precise. When the engine stalls, it tells you exactly which part is broken. If you're just willing to look under the hood, most people slam the hood shut and walk away. But I say, dive into that engine. Get grease on your hands. I want to know why it failed. That why is the information I crave. That why is the blueprint for the next attempt. We have to treat our lives like a machine learning algorithm. How does an AI learn to play chess? It plays millions of games. It loses millions of times. It makes every possible mistake, and with every single loss it adjusts a tiny weight in its neural network. It says, don't do that again. It doesn't feel sad. It doesn't need therapy because it lost a pawn. It just updates the code. I am a biological machine learning algorithm. I need the error data. I cannot optimize my life without the error data. If I avoid failure, I'm starving my brain of the very nutrients it needs to evolve. I'm choosing to remain stupid just to protect my feelings. I refuse to be stupid. I choose the pain of the error over the comfort of ignorance. Imagine we're dropped into a dark forest with no compass. The map of the world isn't given to us at birth. How do we find the way out? We walk, we bump into trees, we fall into pits, we walk into thorn bushes. The person who fears failure just stands still. They're safe from the thorns, but they're trapped in the dark forever. They die in the same spot they were born. The person who seeks information keeps moving. Every time I hit a tree, I map it. The tree is here. Go left next time. Every time I fall in a pit, I map it. Pit is here. Jump next time. My scars are my map. The more I fail, the more detailed my map becomes. The more detailed my map, the faster I can move. Failure isn't the end of the journey. It's the cartography of the journey. This is the great liberation, detaching your ego from the outcome. The ego says, I am a failure. The intellect says, the strategy failed. Do you see the difference? It's the difference between self-destruction and strategy. I am not the strategy. I am the strategist. If I deploy a tactic and it crashes and burns, I do not burn with it. I stand back. I observe the wreckage. I look for the black box. I need the flight recorder data, the altitude, the speed, the pressure at the moment of the crash. Why? So I can build a better plane. I'm in the business of building better planes, not crying over crashed ones. Society loves the natural. We worship the person who gets it right the first time. We call them prodigies, but the natural is fragile. If you've never failed, you don't know how to recover. You don't know your own breaking point. You're untested. I don't want to be a natural. I want to be fragile. I want to be the one who has failed 1,000 times and kept coming back, because that person understands the mechanics of the game. They've exhausted all the wrong ways to do it, leaving only the right way. The natural is guessing. The veteran knows. I am becoming a veteran of life, and the price of admission is failure. That phrase, I need more information, turns fear into curiosity. Fear asks, what if it goes wrong? Curiosity asks, I wonder what will happen if I pull this lever. When I shift from fear to curiosity, I become an explorer. And an explorer isn't looking for safety, they're looking for discovery. Sometimes the discovery is a gold mine. Sometimes the discovery is a monster, but both are information. Both add to my knowledge. I would rather face a monster and learn its weakness than hide under the bed and imagine its horror. The imagination of failure is always worse than the reality of it. Reality is manageable. Reality is data. Think of the scientific method: hypothesis, experiment, observation, conclusion. Nowhere in that cycle is there a step for self-pity. If the experiment disproves the hypothesis, science has advanced. We now know one thing that is not true. That's progress. I view my life as a grand experiment. My career, my relationships, my health, these are all petri dishes. I'm constantly testing variables. If I try a new workout and I get injured, that's information. The weight was too heavy. The form was bad. I adjust. I don't quit the gym. I calibrate. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to be calibrated. And calibration requires feedback. Failure is the loudest feedback loop there is. We live in a high-resolution world, but we walk around with low-resolution eyes, only seeing good or bad, win or lose. This binary thinking is childish. I want high-resolution vision. When I fail, I don't just see bad, I see a spectrum of data. I see timing issues, communication breakdowns, resource shortages, emotional triggers. I see a complex web of causes. By staring at the failure, by dissecting it, I learn how the body of success actually works. You can't understand life if you turn your eyes away from the death of your efforts. Look at it, study it. It has so much to teach you. The quantity of information matters too. If I try once and fail, I have one data point. One data point is just a dot. You can't draw a line with a dot. You can't see a trend. I need a data set. I need a scatter plot. I need to fail 10 times, 20 times, 100 times. Now I have a pattern. Now I can see the trajectory. Now I can see the common denominator. And usually, the common denominator is me. It's a flaw in my thinking, a gap in my discipline, a blind spot in my ego. The data reveals me to myself. This is painful, yes, but it's the pain of surgery. It's cutting out the tumor of ignorance. I welcome the knife because I want to be healed of my stupidity. I'm essentially a data processing unit. My potential is limited only by the quality of my data. If I feed myself delusions, I'll produce garbage. If I feed myself the raw, hard, cold data of my failures, I'll produce wisdom. Wisdom is nothing more than healed pain. Wisdom is the accumulation of rectified errors. Show me a wise person and I'll show you someone who has made more mistakes than the fool has ever tried. The fool is afraid to look foolish, so he remains a fool. The wise person is willing to look foolish to become a master. I am willing to look foolish. This means I must increase my rate of failure. If I'm failing once a year, I'm learning to slowly. The world is moving way too fast for that. I need to fail once a week, maybe even once a day. I need to speed up the loop. I need to fail fast. Failing fast is cheap. Failing slow is expensive. If I spend 10 years writing a book that no one wants, that's a tragedy. If I spend 10 days writing a chapter, test it, and no one wants it, that's a bargain. I want the bad news early. Give me the bad news now, while I can still change course. Don't protect me from the failure. Expose me to it immediately so I can pivot. This mindset destroys the paralysis of perfectionism. Perfectionism is just fear dressed up in a tuxedo. It's the refusal to let the world see your work until it's flawless, but nothing is flawless. And if you wait for flawless, you will wait forever. You'll die with your song still inside you. So I release the imperfect work. I release the beta version. I release the rough draft. Why? Because I need the feedback. I need the world to tell me where the holes are. I can't see them myself. I'm too close to it. I need the friction of the audience. That friction generates the heat of truth. There's a stoic calm in this. I know I can't control the outcome, only the effort. But I also know that the outcome, whatever it is useful. If I win, I have resources. If I lose, I have information. I can never be left empty-handed. I'm always profiting. The profit might be cash, or the profit might be wisdom. Both are currencies. Both can be invested. I'm an investor in my own evolution. And failure is often the currency with the highest long-term ROI. So I surrender the need to look perfect. I surrender the need to be praised. I embrace the scars of the veteran in the dirt of the arena. Every failure is just a coordinate. It says you are here. The goal is there. Adjust 5 degrees to the north. Thank you. I adjust. I move. I fail again. Adjust 2 degrees to the east. Thank you. I adjust. I move. And eventually, inevitably, mathematically, I arrive. Not because I was lucky, but because I ran out of ways to miss. I collected enough information to triangulate the truth, so I do not fail. I learn. I do not lose. I evolve. I do not quit. I calibrate. Thank you so much for watching. If this idea resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one. Did you know we spend our entire lives in a courtroom? It starts the moment we enter school, continues when we join the workforce, and even follows us as we curate our social media profiles. We're always standing before a jury, holding up exhibits, making arguments, desperate for a verdict of not guilty, or even better, exceptional. We're addicted to the act of proving. We want to prove we're smart, prove we're successful, prove we're happy, prove we're worthy of love. But this addiction is a heavy chain. It drags us down, making every interaction a performance, and every day a test. It creates a constant hum of anxiety, because the jury is fickle and the verdict is never final. Today, I'm walking out of the courtroom. I'm taking off the costume. I'm dissolving the jury. I'm adopting a new operating system for my soul. I say it to the mirror, and I say it to the world. I am not here to prove. I am here to improve. The difference between proving and improving is the difference between slavery and freedom. When I'm trying to prove, I'm a slave to the opinions of others. My value is external, held in the hands of the witness. If they applaud, I'm good. If they boo, I'm nothing. It's a fragile way to live, like a house built on the sand of public perception. But when I'm trying to improve, I'm free. My value is internal, determined by my own trajectory. Did I learn something today? Did I get stronger today? Did I sharpen my mind? These are questions only I can answer. The scoreboard is inside me. I own the game. The need to prove is rooted in a deep sense of inadequacy. We shout, "Look at me," because we're terrified that if people don't look, we don't exist. We flash our credentials, our money, our muscles, because we feel small inside. We're trying to cover the hole in our soul with the wallpaper of validation, but the hole is still there. Proving is just a distraction from the real work. Filling the hole, the real work is building a self that doesn't need to be marketed. Improving is the act of filling that hole with competence, with wisdom, with character. The improver doesn't need to shout. The improver is busy building. When you shift from proving to improving, you lose the fear of failure. To the prover, failure is death. It destroys the image, it ruins the evidence. So, the prover plays it safe, only doing what they're already good at. They stagnate, becoming a caricature of themselves, repeating the same tricks for the same applause. But the improver loves failure. To the improver, failure is just data. It's resistance training for the mind. If I try and fail, I haven't lost status, I've gained information. I've improved my understanding of what doesn't work. The improver seeks out the difficult because that's where the growth lives. The improver is willing to look stupid in the short term to be wise in the long term. Think of the energy we waste on image management. We polish the surface while the engine rots. We worry about the filter on the photo rather than the reality of the moment. We worry about the title on the business card rather than the skill in our hands. This is the tragedy of the proving mindset. It prioritizes the symbol over the substance. I'm done with symbols. I want substance. I want the grit, the reality. I don't care if it looks messy or unpolished. I care if it's moving forward. Improvement is often ugly, it's sweaty, it involves stumbling, it involves admitting, I don't know. The prover can never admit they don't know, so they stop learning. The improver admits it gladly, and that's how they begin to learn. I am not here to audition for your approval. I am here to attend the university of my own potential. This life is a classroom, not a stage. On a stage, you hide your mistakes. In a classroom, you explore them. When I see life as a classroom, everyone becomes a teacher. The person who criticizes me teaches me patience or reveals a blind spot. An obstacle teaches me problem solving. Suffering teaches me resilience. When I'm here to improve, I extract value from everything. I'm an alchemist turning every experience into the gold of growth. When I'm here to prove, I reject anything that doesn't make me look good, and I starve myself of the nutrients of reality. The proving mindset creates a zero-sum game. If you win, I lose. It breeds envy and bitterness. It turns neighbors into rivals and makes us lonely because we're too busy competing to connect. But the improving mindset is non-zero-sum. Your growth doesn't hinder mine, it inspires it. If you're better than me, I don't feel threatened. I feel curious. I want to study you, learn your methods, and improve by your example. This opens the door to connection and mentorship. It turns rivals into allies. We're all climbing our own mountains, and we can shout encouragement to each other across the valleys. Surrendering the ego's need to prove is painful at first. The ego wants to be the king, to be right, to be admired. Telling it to shut up is a daily battle. But the peace on the other side is worth it. Imagine the relief of not having to pretend. Imagine the weight lifting when you realize you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be better than you were yesterday. That is a manageable goal. Perfection is a cruel tyrant. Improvement is a patient guide. Let's look at time. The prover lives in the static now, needing to be seen as successful right now. He mortgages his future to buy applause today. The improver lives in the dynamic forever, playing the long game. She is willing to be obscure today, to be a novice, to be underestimated, because she's investing in a compound interest curve that will pay off in a decade. The prover is a flash in the pan. The improver is a slow-burning fire that gets hotter and hotter. I choose the fire. This philosophy changes how I speak. The prover speaks to impress, using big words and name-dropping. He dominates the conversation, listening only for his turn to speak. The improver speaks to understand. She asks questions, listens deeply, and admits when she's confused. She values truth more than her image. When you stop trying to prove you're smart, you actually become smarter because you stop blocking the inflow of new information. I am the architect of my own capability, not a showroom dummy or a billboard. I am a machine of adaptation. Every day I wake up and ask, where is the rust? Where is the weakness? And I go to work. I sand down the rough edges of my character, tighten the bolts of my discipline, and upgrade the software of my mind. This work is private. No one claps when I resist junk food, or read a difficult book or control my temper, and that's fine. I don't need the clapping, I need the capacity. I need the strength that comes from the private victory. To prove is to be static, a finished product on display. To improve is to be fluid, a river constantly changing, constantly moving towards the ocean. I embrace my fluidity, the fact that I am unfinished. The day I stop improving is the day I die, even if my body is still breathing. The pursuit of better is the life force itself. Society tries to trap us in the proving game with ranks, grades, likes, and followers. It gamifies our existence and tells us the person with the most toys wins. I reject this game. I'm playing a different one called self. The rules are simple. Did I conquer a fear today? Did I refine a skill today? Did I act with integrity today? The prize isn't a trophy. It's a feeling of solidity, of knowing I'm built on rock, not sand. The prover is fragile. One criticism shatters him. The improver is anti-fragile. Criticism makes her better because she uses it as feedback. Failure makes her smarter because she analyzes it. Stress makes her stronger because she adapts. She is made of muscle. I want to be muscle, not glass. This applies to my relationships. I'm not here to prove I'm the perfect partner or parent. I'm here to improve my capacity to love, my patience, my ability to forgive. When I mess up, I don't defend myself. I apologize and ask, how can I do better next time? This vulnerability heals relationships, defensiveness destroys them. It applies to my body. I'm here to improve my health, my endurance, my longevity. The gym is a workshop, not a stage. I leave my ego at the door. I lift what I can handle, not what impresses others. It applies to my mind. I'm not here to prove I've read the most books. I'm here to improve my wisdom. Reading is a conversation with the greatest minds of history. I want to understand the deep structures of reality. There's a spiritual dimension to this. To improve is to say, I am grateful for what I am, but I honor the gift of life by growing. It is an act of stewardship. I am the gardener of my own soul, weeding out the hatred and jealousy and planting the seeds of kindness, courage, and discipline. It is slow, quiet, holy work. The transition from proving to improving is the transition from anxiety to curiosity. Anxiety asks, will they like this? Curiosity asks, what can I learn from this? Anxiety contracts. Curiosity expands. I choose expansion. I surrender the need for the big reveal. Real life isn't a movie montage. It's the unsexy, repetitive days of incremental gains. I am disentangling my identity from my results. My effort, my focus, my intention to be better, that is what I control. I judge myself on the input, not the output. This is a quiet revolution. It happens in the silence of the morning, in the decision to read instead of scroll. The culture screams flaunt it. I whisper build it. The culture screams fake it till you make it. I whisper face it till you master it. So let them judge. Let the jury deliberate. They are judging a ghost. By the time they deliver their verdict, I will have moved on. I will have improved. Their judgment can't reach me. I am too busy growing. I am not here to prove I am strong. I am here to get stronger. I am not here to prove I am smart. I am here to get wiser. I am not here to prove I am good. I am here to become better. This is my mantra. This is my shield. This is my path. Every day is a brick. I'm not trying to sell the brick. I'm trying to lay the brick perfectly. And then the next one. I'm building a cathedral that may never be finished, and that is okay. The joy is in the laying of the brick. I release the weight of the world's expectation. I stand up straight, light, and free. I look at the horizon of my own potential. It is a long road, but it is my road, and I am walking it, not to show you how fast I can walk, but to see how far I can go. I am not here to prove, I am here to improve, and that is enough. That is everything. Thanks for watching. From the moment we opened our eyes, we've been sold a glittering lie. The lie of the destination. The lie of the golden trophy. The finish line. The podium. The mountaintop. We're taught that life is just a waiting room, a painful purgatory we must endure until we get the prize. We convince ourselves the struggle is just a tax we have to pay, an annoying interruption between us and our happiness. We say, I'll be happy when I get the promotion. I'll be at peace when I have $1 million. I'll be worthy when I hold the award. This mindset is spiritual suicide. It kills the present moment. It reduces your life to a series of transactions, trading your time for a future that may never come. And even if it does, it will betray you. The prize is cold. The prize is hollow. It's a fleeting dopamine spike that fades before you even leave the stage. Today we shatter this illusion. Today we adopt the philosophy of the masters. We flip the script. We detach from the prize. We fall in love with the struggle. Now, to detach from the prize is not to give up on ambition. It's not about settling for mediocrity. It's about purifying your ambition. When you're obsessed with the prize, you are a slave to the outcome. You're a slave to factors outside your control. The judge, the market, the audience, the luck of the draw. You're constantly checking the scoreboard. And a player who looks at the scoreboard isn't looking at the ball. A player who looks at the scoreboard trips over his own feet. Detachment is the art of caring deeply about the effort, but not giving a damn about the result. It's the Zen archer who releases the arrow with perfect form and then turns his back before it even hits the target. He knows hitting the target is just a consequence. The art was in drawing the bow. The art was in the breath. The art was in the struggle of muscle against wood. So why must we fall in love with the struggle? Because the struggle is the only thing that is guaranteed. The prize is a maybe. The struggle is a definite. If you only love the prize, you will hate 99% of your life, because 99% of your life is the pursuit. But if you fall in love with the struggle, you fall in love with life itself. You fall in love with the friction. You fall in love with the resistance. You realize that resistance isn't trying to stop you. It's trying to sculpt you. The struggle is the sculptor. You are the marble. The pain you feel is the chisel chipping away, the excess, the weakness, the fear. If you run from the chisel, you remain a shapeless block of stone. If you embrace the chisel, if you lean into the blade, you become a masterpiece. We live in a world that worships ease. We want the hack, the shortcut, the pill that makes us thin, the scheme that makes us rich, the app that makes us loved. We are allergic to difficulty, and because we avoid difficulty, we are becoming fragile. We're becoming brittle. We break under the slightest pressure. To fall in love with the struggle is to reject this fragility. It is to seek out the difficult path on purpose. It's to look at the steep hill and say, I choose that one. Not because it leads to a better view, but because the climb will make my legs strong. The value is not in the summit. The value is in the strengthening of the legs. The summit is just the place where you stop climbing. The climb is where you are alive. Detachment from the prize creates a terrifying kind of freedom. It makes you dangerous. Most people can be bought, controlled by the promise of a reward or the threat of a punishment. But the person who doesn't care about the prize cannot be bought. The person who loves to struggle cannot be threatened with hardship because they welcome it. They are at home in the fire. How do you defeat someone who enjoys the war more than the victory? You can't. They are invincible because their source of satisfaction is internal. It's self-generated. They don't need the world to clap for them. They clap for themselves every time they push past their limits. Every time they stand up after being knocked down. Their validation comes from the grit under their fingernails, not the gold around their neck. The prize is often a trap. It signals the end. When you win the championship, the season is over. The purpose is gone. Many champions fall into depression after the win, asking, is this it? Is this all there is? They realize the shiny object doesn't fix their soul. But the struggle is infinite. There is always a heavier weight to lift, a deeper book to read, a harder problem to solve. The struggle provides an endless horizon of meaning. When you fall in love with the struggle, you never retire. You never expire. You are playing an infinite game where the goal is not to win but to keep playing, to keep evolving, to keep testing the boundaries of your potential. Consider the biology of a muscle. A muscle doesn't grow when it's resting on the couch or holding a trophy. It grows when it is being torn, when it is failing. That failure is the signal for growth. The struggle is the nutrient. If you protect yourself from the struggle, you are starving your potential. You're keeping yourself small. We must reframe our relationship with pain. Pain is not a red light telling you to stop. Pain is a yellow light telling you that you are entering the transformation zone. It's the feeling of weakness leaving the body. It's the sensation of your old self dying and your new self being born. Don't numb the pain. Don't hide from it. Feel it, respect it, love it. It is the evidence of your expansion. Detach from the prize means you stop bargaining with the future. You stop saying, I'll work hard, if you guarantee I will succeed. That is a weak bargain. That is a transaction. A warrior doesn't bargain. A warrior works hard because that's what warriors do. A creator creates because they must breathe. The sun doesn't ask for payment to shine. It shines because it's a sun. You must find that solar quality within yourself. You must radiate effort, discipline, and excellence simply because that is your nature. If the prize comes, fine. If it doesn't, fine. You are going to shine anyway. Your work is an expression of your essence, not a plea for validation. The obsession with the prize creates anxiety. It creates the imposter syndrome. We think, what if I don't get it? What will they think of me? This fear paralyzes us. It stifles our creativity and makes us play it safe. But when you detach, you become playful. You become experimental. You can take risks because you have nothing to lose. You've already accepted that the outcome is irrelevant. This paradoxically makes you more likely to succeed. The artist who paints for the love of paint makes better art than the artist who paints for money. The entrepreneur who loves the problem solves it better than the one who loves the exit strategy. The struggle is the filter that purifies intent. And pure intent creates pure power. Let's talk about the arrival fallacy. We think there's a place we can arrive at where everything will be easy, where we can finally relax. This place does not exist. Life is a stream of problems. You solve one, and another appears. If you're waiting for the problems to stop, you're waiting for death. The only way to find peace is to love the solving of the problems, to love the chaos, to find the eye of the hurricane and build your home there. The person who loves the struggle is never disappointed by a bad day, because a bad day is just a challenging level in the video game. It's just a plot twist in the movie. It's material. It's something to work with. When you focus on the prize, you are focusing on the lack of the prize. You are reinforcing the idea that you don't have it, that you are incomplete. You're vibrating at the frequency of scarcity. I need this to be whole. No, you don't. You are whole right now. You are whole in the sweat. You are whole in the attempt. You are whole in the arena. The struggle validates your existence. It proves you're engaging with reality, that you're not a spectator. The spectator looks at the prize. The gladiator looks at the beast. Be the gladiator. Keep your eyes on the beast. The beast is the task at hand, the distraction, the laziness. Wrestle the beast. That is where the glory lives, in the wrestling, not in the post-match interview. Detachment requires a massive ego death. The ego wants the title, the recognition. The ego wants to be better than others. To fall in love with the struggle, you must silence the ego and listen to the soul. The soul doesn't care about rank, it cares about growth. The soul cares about depth. The soul wants to know what you're made of, and you can't find that out in the shallow waters of easy success. You have to go into the deep waters of struggle, where you can't touch the bottom. You have to panic a little, and learn to swim when your lungs are burning. That's where the soul awakens. We treat struggle like a pathology, a disease to be cured. We sedate ourselves with entertainment, food, and distractions to avoid the feeling of struggle. But struggle isn't a disease. It's the heartbeat of evolution. Look at nature. The seed struggles to break the soil. The butterfly struggles to break the cocoon. The chick struggles to break the shell. If you help the butterfly by cutting the cocoon, the butterfly dies. It needs the struggle to pump blood into its wings. It needs the resistance to launch. You are the butterfly. The struggle is your cocoon. Don't ask for an easy way out. The easy way is the death of your wings. Fight your way out. That fight is the only thing that will allow you to fly. Detached from the prize is also a protection against corruption. When you're obsessed with the prize, you'll be tempted to cheat, to cut corners, to compromise your integrity, to sell your soul for a shortcut. But if you love the struggle, cheating makes no sense. Cheating robs you of the very thing you value. If you cheat at the gym, you don't get strong. If you cheat on a test, you don't get smart. The lover of struggle wants the full weight, the honest reps, the difficult truth. They build a character that's incorruptible because their satisfaction comes from the purity of their effort. There's a profound loneliness in the struggle, and we must learn to love that too. The prize brings a crowd, the struggle is solitary. It's 4 in the morning, it's the empty gym, the blank page, the silent laboratory. No one is watching, no one is cheering. This is the dark night of the soul, and it is beautiful. In that silence, you meet yourself. You strip away the masks you wear for society. You confront your demons and make friends with your shadows. The person who needs the prize cannot handle the solitude. They need applause to know they exist. The person who loves the struggle finds company in their own discipline. They find a friend in their own will. We are building a cathedral, not a tent. A tent goes up fast and gives you the immediate result of shelter, but it blows away in the storm. A cathedral takes 100 years to build. The stonemasons who lay the foundation will never see the spire. They work for a vision they won't inhabit. They are detached from the final prize, but they are in love with the laying of the stone, with the craft. We must adopt the cathedral mindset. We are building a life of substance. It takes time, patience, and years of invisible work. Don't measure your progress by the height of the spire. Measure it by the solidity of the foundation. The foundation is built in the dark, in the struggle, in the dirt. The prize is static. Once you have it, it sits on a shelf and gathers dust. It's a dead thing. The struggle is dynamic. It is alive. It changes every day and demands new versions of you. It's a relationship at dance. Sometimes you lead, sometimes it leads, sometimes it throws you to the ground, but you always get up and dance again. This relationship keeps you young, it keeps you sharp. The person who retires to a life of ease ages rapidly. Their spirit atrophies. They have nothing to push against. We need something to push against. We need gravity. We need the mountain. The mountain is our partner. Fall in love with the struggle. This means finding the micro joys in the macro suffering. It means loving the feeling of calluses forming on your hands, the burning of the lungs, the confusion of learning a complex subject, the rejection that tells you where to improve. These are acquired tastes. Like black coffee or dark chocolate, they are bitter at first, but once you acquire the taste, the sweet stuff becomes sickening. You stop craving the sugar of validation and start craving the iron of challenge. You become a connoisseur of difficulty. You look for the hardest path because you know that's where the highest nutrition is. Let's dismantle the fear of wasted time. We fear that if we struggle and don't get the prize, we've wasted our time. This is false. No struggle is ever wasted. Even if your business fails, you gained the skills of leadership and resilience. Even if you lose the match, you gained conditioning and strategy. The prize is just one potential byproduct. The upgrade to your character is the guaranteed product. You are the asset. The struggle is the investment into that asset. Whether the market acknowledges it or not, the value is intrinsic. You know what you're capable of. The world is screaming for attention. Everywhere I look, I see people begging to be seen. They are standing on the stage before they have learned their lines. They are demanding the trophy before they have run the race. They are addicted to the light, addicted to the applause, addicted to the validation of strangers. They believe that if they are not seen, they do not exist. They believe that silence is death. But I know a different truth. I know the power of the dark. I know the sanctuary of the unknown. I have made a pact with patience. I have signed a contract with obscurity. I know, with a certainty that burns in my marrow, that my time is coming, but until then, I work in the shadows. To work in the shadows is not to hide, it is to build. It is a strategic withdrawal from the noise of mediocrity. The shadow is not a prison. It is a laboratory. It is the place where mistakes are made without judgment. It is the place where weakness is hammered into strength without witnesses. In the light you have to perform, in the light you have to pretend, but in the shadow you can be real, you can be ugly, you can struggle, you can fail, and because you are alone, you can learn from that failure with a purity that is impossible in the public eye. The shadow protects the process. It shields the fragile sapling of my ambition from the scorching heat of public scrutiny until it has become a mighty oak. My time is coming. This is not a hope. This is not a wish. This is a calculation. It is a law of physics. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred. The energy I am pouring into my craft, hour after silent hour, day after lonely day, is not disappearing. It is accumulating. It is being stored in the battery of my potential. The world sees a flat line. They think I am stagnant. They think I have quit. Let them think that. Their underestimation is my advantage. While they sleep on my potential, I am charging the battery. And when the switch is finally flipped, the surge of power will be blinding. It will seem like an overnight success to them. It will feel like destiny to me. I reject the timeline of the masses. They want it now. They want the viral moment. They want the lottery win. They are building sandcastles that wash away with the first tide. I am building a pyramid. Pyramids are built in the desert heat, stone by heavy stone. Over decades, they are built in silence, but they last for millennia. I am playing the long game, the longest game. I am willing to trade the cheap dopamine of today for the enduring legacy of tomorrow. This trade requires a steely discipline. It requires the ability to walk past the party and go into the library. It requires the ability to turn off the phone and pick up the tool. It requires the ability to be a ghost in a world of attention whores. The shadow is where the ego goes to die. The ego wants the spotlight. The ego wants credit. The ego says, "Look at me, I am working hard." The shadow says, "Shut up and work." When you work in the shadows, you kill the need for external validation. You learn to validate yourself. You learn to look at your work and know if it is good or bad without needing a like or a comment. This self-reliance is the ultimate power. If I do not need your applause to feel good, I do not fear your criticism. I become immune to the opinions of the crowd. I am guided by an internal compass that glows in the dark. There is a mystery to the shadow. The world loves a mystery. When you are always available, always posting, always talking, you have no value. You are common. You are overexposed. But when you disappear, when you go underground, you create a vacuum. People wonder, where did he go? What is he doing? That curiosity is powerful. And when you finally re-emerge, not with empty words, but with a masterpiece, the impact is multiplied by the silence that preceded it. The arrow flies furthest when it is pulled back into the dark. I am currently in the pullback. I am creating tension. I am creating potential energy. Until then, I work. The work is the constant. The work is the anchor. The work is the prayer. I do not pray for an easy life. I pray for a strong back. I treat the work as a sacred duty. It does not matter if I am tired. It does not matter if I am uninspired. It does not matter if the world is falling apart. The work remains. The work is the only thing I can control. I cannot control the market. I cannot control the timing. I can control the effort. So I pour myself into the task at hand. I polish the details that no one will ever see. Why? Because I see them. And I demand excellence from myself, even in the dark, especially in the dark. The shadow is the womb of greatness. Every great thing was formed in the dark. The seed germinates in the dark soil. The child forms in the dark womb. The star forms in the dark vacuum of space. Why should my success be any different? I am currently in the gestation period. I am developing my eyes, my hands, my mind. I am knitting together the fibers of my character. If I were to be exposed to the light too soon, I would be unfinished. I would be raw. I would be weak. I resist the urge to be born prematurely. I wait until I am fully formed. I wait until I am strong enough to survive the world. I am patient because I am dangerous. A harmless man is impatient because he fears he will never get what he wants. A dangerous man, a capable man, is patient because he knows he has the power to take it when the time is right. I am sharpening my blade. A dull blade requires force. A sharp blade requires only precision. I am spending my time in the shadows, honing the edge, grinding, polishing, testing. When I finally swing, I will not need to hack. I will cut through the resistance with a single clean motion. The world will call it luck. I will know it was the sharpening. To work in the shadows is to embrace solitude. Most people are terrified of being alone. They need noise to drown out their thoughts. They need company to distract them from their emptiness. I embrace the void. In the silence of the shadow, I hear the truth. I hear my own voice. I clarify my own vision. Solitude is the forge where the soul is tempered. It is where you find out who you really are. Are you a worker, or are you a performer? The performer quits when the audience leaves. The worker works harder because he can finally focus. I am a worker. The solitude is my colleague. The silence is my mentor. I am not hiding from the world. I am preparing for the world. There is a difference. The coward hides because he is afraid of the battle. The warrior hides because he is planning the ambush. I am planning the ambush. I am studying the terrain. I am mapping the enemy. I am gathering my resources. When I strike, it will be decisive. It will be total. There will be no debate. The element of surprise is my ally. While they are celebrating their small victories, I am plotting the total conquest. My time is coming. This belief keeps me warm in the cold nights of obscurity. It is the fire in the hearth. It keeps the despair at bay. There are days when the shadow feels heavy. There are days when I feel invisible and forgotten. In those moments, I stoke the fire of my belief. I remind myself that every great story has a chapter of the wilderness. This is my wilderness chapter. This is the part of the movie where the hero is beaten down, lost, and forgotten, only to train in the mountains and return stronger. I am writing that chapter right now. I do not skip the training montage. The training montage is where the hero is made. I detach from the need for speed. Speed is the enemy of quality. The modern world is obsessed with speed, fast food, fast fashion, fast success. It is all garbage. It is all disposable. I want to build something that lasts. I want to build a legacy. Legacies are built with slow, deliberate, heavy hands. I am moving slowly, but I am moving without pause. I am the glacier. I move inches a year, but I reshape the continent. Nothing can stop a glacier. It has too much mass. I am building my mass in the shadows. There is a freedom in being underestimated when people think you are nothing. They leave you alone. They do not view you as a threat. They do not put up their guard. This is a gift. It allows you to move freely. It allows you to make mistakes without consequence. It allows you to grow without opposition. I wear the cloak of the underdog. I let them think I am out of the game. I let them write me off. It makes the comeback stories so much sweeter. The look on their faces when I emerge will be worth every second of the silence. I am the architect of my own reveal. I decide when the curtain rises. I do not let the world drag me onto the stage. I walk on when I am ready. And when I walk on, I will not be asking for permission. I will be taking command. The shadow has taught me authority. It has taught me that power comes from within, not from without. I do not need a title. I do not need a badge. I have the authority of the man who has mastered himself in the dark. The shadow is a filter. It filters out the fake friends. It filters out the fair weather fans. When you are in the shadows, you see who truly stands by you. You see who checks on you when you have nothing to offer. Usually, it is no one. And that is fine. It clarifies the battlefield. It shows you that you are your own cavalry. You are your own rescue team. This realization breaks your heart at first, but then it makes it bulletproof. You realize you don't need them. You have yourself. And you have the work. Until then, I work. The work is infinite. There is always another level. There is always a deeper understanding. The amateur thinks he has mastered it. The master knows he is just scratching the surface. The shadow allows me to go deep. I am a diver. I am exploring the depths of my craft where the light cannot reach. I am finding treasures that the surface swimmers will never see. I bring these treasures back up with me. They are the secrets of my success. They are the edge that makes me untouchable. I surrender the need to be understood. People will not understand why I am doing this. They will ask, why do you work so hard? Why don't you come out? Why are you so serious? I do not explain. Explaining is a waste of energy. They cannot understand because they have never visited the shadow. They have never felt the power of the deep work. To explain it to them is like explaining color to a blind man. I just nod and go back to the work. My results will do the explaining for me. My life will be the explanation. I am transforming into a force of nature. Nature does not rush. The season does not rush. Winter does not rush into spring. It waits until the tilt of the earth is right. It waits until the conditions are perfect. I am aligning myself with these cosmic cycles. I am currently in my winter. It is cold. It is quiet. It is quiet. But under the snow, life is preparing to explode. I respect the winter. I do not try to force a fake spring. I let the cold harden me. I let the darkness rest me. I know that my spring is inevitable. The shadow teaches humility. You cannot be arrogant when you are alone with your flaws. The shadow forces you to confront your limitations. It forces you to be honest about what you suck at, and then it gives you the space to fix it. I am not hiding my flaws. I am fixing them. I am dismantling my weaknesses and rebuilding them as strengths. I am plugging the holes in the boat before I sail into the ocean. The arrogant man sails with holes and sinks. The humble man stays in the dry dock until the boat is watertight. I am in the dry dock. I am cultivating an aura of inevitability. When I say my time is coming, I say it with the calmness of a man checking the weather report. I see the clouds gathering. I know the rain is coming. It is not a guess. My success is a storm that is gathering over the horizon. I am the low-pressure system. I am the timidity. I am the wind. I am building the conditions that make the storm unavoidable. The world may be surprised by the thunder, but I have been watching the clouds form for years. I trust the incubation process. Ideas need time to mature. Character needs time to solidify. If you open the oven too soon, the cake collapses. I am keeping the oven door closed. I am keeping the heat inside. I am letting the pressure build. Pressure creates diamonds. Pressure creates explosions. I am a controlled explosion waiting for the spark. The spark is the opportunity. The explosive is the preparation. When they meet, the world will shake. I am not jealous of those in the light. I see them burning out. I see them making mistakes in public. I see them being torn apart by the mob. I feel a strange pity for them. They have ascended too soon. They are Icarus flying too close to the sun with wax wings. They will fall. I am building wings of iron. I am building wings of steel. When I fly, I will not melt. I will soar. Let them have their moment in the sun. I am preparing for a lifetime in the sky. But until then, I work. This is the mantra. When I wake up, work. When I am tired, work. When I doubt myself, work. The work is the cure for doubt. Action is the antidote to anxiety. I bury my anxiety in the labor. I bury my fear in the repetition. I become a